On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Brownsexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no. Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
I will say I am not feeling well, but I will be here as long as I can for you guys. Just a minute. Let me make some adjustments here. All right. Good morning. Welcome to the fabulous Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning. And in case you can't tell, I do not have all of my energy. I originally asked Cole to kick off the show for me today, but I will be here in the interim, and then when Cole steps in, I'm going to step away, get my medicine and get my tea, and try to roll from there. I didn't sleep well last night for a variety of reasons. I've tried. It's been one trying to get my sleep schedule. Excuse me. I don't even have my full voice.
Oh, Lord. So this is what I got to look forward to when I'm 50. My voice cracking.
Part of it.
I mean, for me, that's only 2 months, but hey, who knows?
How the hell did you think I felt when I turned 40? And I'll share this story to keep people in a good mood. The night I turned 40, I did a semi-pro football game, and with the Chicago Stallions. We were in Brookfield, Illinois, and we went to their hangout place, bar and pub, and then the team found out I was turning 40. The waitresses found out I was turning 40. So while I was loading myself with food, they were loading me with liquor. Lots of it.
Yeah, they wanted you to be drunk.
Oh, man, it started with the BOOMShockalakah, which to me tasted like chocolate.
Oh, no. Alcohol that actually doesn't taste like alcohol. Yeah, I've heard those are the worst types of alcoholic drinks you can drink.
Good Lord. I made sure I ate a lot.
Well, that's good.
I sure drank a lot that night. And I can't tell you how the hell I got home, because my plan was to get someone to take me to a train station so I can navigate my way home. Somehow I wound up from Brookfield, Illinois, back to the South Side. I made it inside, crawled upstairs, and passed out.
Well, at least you made it home.
Yeah, here's the worst part. I only got 4 hours of sleep that night.
Oh, yeah.
Because the next day, my sister decided it was a good Sunday to move.
Oh, she wanted to give you a birthday present and get out your. Oh no, I'm not gonna go there. I'm sorry.
Don't you do that. Don't you do that. You already know better. So let me ask the folks to forgive me if I step away. Like I said, my sleep pattern has been totally off since my surgery. I'm trying to get it back on track, but last night was just one of those nights. I was tired when I came in, but my body had other ideas. You were in the military. You played football. You get what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes your mind, your body acts different.
My body just my mind and my body just wouldn't turn off.
Yeah.
But man, that next day, my mother came up to my room, opened the door, knowing I was still hungover, and said, "You need to do me a favor." Why? What the hell am I doing this for? Well, I want to get your sister out of my house. That's your problem. I'm still full of food. I'm still full of liquor. And I didn't sleep much. Yeah. So I took my mother's car. I wound up taking my mother's car against my will and drove to Gary, Indiana. Now, my sister is the type that will try to tell me how to get to a place that I'm already familiar with because I lived there for 4 years. This is how we get to the mood. You already know the rest of my undertones, and I don't need to explain them to you.
I'm trying not to say anything.
You don't have to. The smile on your face tells it all. Like I said, she is the type, God love her, that will try to tell me how to get to a place that I'm already familiar with because I lived there for 4 years. Well, you're going to take this road, this road, this road, this road. I flew down 80 and I beat her there by an hour. To a point where my nephew and I fell asleep, which seems to be my favorite activity nowadays, sleeping.
Nothing wrong with that.
So my mother and my sister finally found the place that I had been sitting at for an hour, and my sister's brilliant question to me.
That isn't dripping with sarcasm.
And Victor, you know the woman in question, so you already know why I'm so sarcastic about this. Anyway, her brilliant question to me was,
oh, fine. Quote,
how'd you get here before I did and I had the directions?
Close quote.
And I hate to do this early in the morning when I'm not feeling well, but now a selection from the Wonder Bread Choir entitled, I Lived Here.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Wow, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed with you, sir.
Why?
We're not even 15 minutes into the show and already.
Yep. And
Just
I took it off the rails.
Just so impressed.
I voluntarily took it off the rails because I'm trying to get my energy and it's not working.
Yeah.
Laughter is, but
Mm-hmm.
Victor Locke joins us. When you're a child, you hate things like water and sleep because water has no flavor. You feel like you're missing something when you're sleeping. But when you grow up, you appreciate both more. Ain't that the truth?
And you want both more in bunches. Oh my gosh.
I go through 3 of these every morning.
And I can go right
you
back.
already know my arsenal. Good morning, A Pizzle.
Good morning, A Pizzle.
You already know my arsenal right here on the right side of my desk. Like you said, you want more. Anybody who has watched my short In the Booth series when I was covering Jennings County, y'all know how much water I brought to the games and how big the bottles were. And I also made sure they were cold, because anyone who's done games in a high school gym, Victor, I'm looking at you, knows it gets hot in that joint.
Yeah.
But back to the tale of moving.
Yes.
My sister's brilliant question, how'd I get there first? Nicole, I tried to tell you I lived here in Gary before you even thought of it. Well, this is how we're going to get back to my place in Hammond. Oh, God. You can tell every single undertone by just looking at my face.
Oh, I didn't know she got it like that. That she could have many places like that.
She drew a map, if you want to call it that, on how to get to her place. I took 2 roads and I beat her there by an hour. Again. She says, how the hell you know this place? Nicole, I covered high school sports here in this area. You kind of get to know all the shortcuts.
Yeah, if you go to enough of them.
I went to enough games of the Gary South Shore Railcats to know every shortcut from Gary to Hammond to East Chicago. Because I had to drive to schools in all those places. And I agree with Sick Diggy. Drat, double drat, triple drat, and now even quadruple drat.
No, not quadruple drat.
Yes, the quadruple drat.
Oh, Lord. Muttley, this is all your fault.
And you... I hate you for that damn laugh. It's one of those laughs you hear in the morning before you're shuffled off to school.
Oh, yeah.
And it's in your hand all damn day.
Yep.
While we're off the rails and I'm spinning tales on this Friday, you see the look on my face, right?
Yes, I do.
You know that
Thank
group
you, Victor. Preach it.
You know that group chat we're in?
Oh.
There are a couple people in that group that act like Muttley.
Oh, God.
Do I need to say
A couple of them who act like Muttley. Oh, wow. That's messed up. That is
and
awful.
You know the 2 I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, the Fanatic Feedback Zone knows one of them. So
quite well.
Oh, my.
I will just say there's a challenge on the table.
Oh, yeah.
You and I talked off the air yesterday. A lot while I was full of caffeine. And I think this is what's going on. I've crashed. Ain't no way, Victor. Ain't no way in hell you found worse than what we went through yesterday. Here's the and that's about the song that's in my head right now.
You have found worse, Victor?
Let's take a break, come back, and we'll see how worse Victor is found because I must get water now. Give me 180 seconds and we'll be back on the Off the Rails Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning. We're back in a flash.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
That's why we here on this platform.
Marriage, a loving splendor, a daily grind. Such is the case when Damien and Jamie get together and chop it up, for marriage is real.
Let's just lay it all out here. Let's just be real with it.
Join this wonderful couple who keeps it real and always in love. BS3 Network proudly presents Marriage is Real, where love is the only thing that matters. Live every Tuesday at 8:30 Central. Oh, and Jamie has something to say.
Deuces and trays.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the high five strangers got, game-winning interception, first down, just a nice solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
The original Think drink is back. Level up with proven ingredients formulated to crush your competition. No gimmicks, no jitters, no messing around. Just high-potency results that keep you moving day or night. There's a new nerd in town, and we came to play. Nerd Focus. Smarter than energy.
Cause we take this job so serious.
The f*** is that? Sorry, pardon me. My apologies.
What in the all types of blue hell?
This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson.
And to think that happened live.
Mm-hmm.
That happened live. Okay. So y'all know I was in Starbucks yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a challenge issued in a group chat that had a couple of Mutleys in it. I ain't making this up. And to prove it,
no, you're not.
And to prove it,
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, you saw some of the stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Goodness gracious.
So our good buddy Rod West seems
intent.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. On proving my statement wrong involving one Tom Chambers.
Okay.
Now I want y'all to listen to this statement carefully. And to answer your question, TV, to answer your question, Hawk TV, no, I fell out.
You see LeBron.
Don't cuss at me.
It is you.
Okay, well, in this case, I'll allow it.
It's always been you. It is you. It always will be you. Okay, I had to get that out of my system. I'm sorry.
Do it again. Yes, LeBron. It is you. It's always been you. It always will be you. And I get your reference with the with the Mr. Rogers voice.
Yes.
I get the reference now. I had to go back and listen to it a few times.
I was like, he intentionally did that, but I don't think he knows it.
I didn't at the time until you pointed it out. Here's what I said. Now I want y'all to listen carefully.
Okay. All ears.
What I said is that Tom Chambers played a better fundamentally sound forward position than you know who.
Okay.
Let me repeat that. I said that Tom Chambers and Cole and I talked for an hour, and I named quite a few others, played a better fundamentally sound forward position than LeBron has. Chris Dietz dropped a gem when he said Chambers had to be better fundamentally because he wasn't as athletic. True on every part of that sentence.
Yeah.
Very true. Repeat my sentence back to me, please.
You said that Tom Chambers has played a better, more fundamentally sound brand of basketball than his King, basically.
Did I say something wrong in that sentence? Especially with what Dietz coupled it with?
Yeah, with Chambers not being as athletic, yeah.
Right. That's why I said the words fundamentally sound. And it was met by one word from Keith Stratford when he said false.
Oh, false. Okay. I thought the word he was going to use was she.
You may as well say that. And I said, how? I shouldn't have done that.
Why shouldn't you do that? Why shouldn't you have done that?
because it led later yesterday afternoon to a statement said by Keith that to this moment does not make any sense.
Okay. Well,
Because
let's go.
Our buddy Cool McCain got in on the fun.
Yes, he did. Other than imploring people to stop talking about Michael versus LeBron.
Yes.
Which I 100% agree with him on that.
I agree with that also. See, and what pisses people off in that group, present company excluded, is I present my argument with facts behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what a journalist is supposed to do?
That's what journalists are paid to do. We're supposed to actually present any topic, any and every topic with factually based understanding. Yeah.
I've always said that LeBron is one hell of an athlete.
And he is.
I will not say anything different ever.
No lies found there. Yeah, he's one of the best athletes in any sport.
I listen. I've always said LeBron's one hell of an athlete. I've said that since 2002. My point is, LeBron is a trash ass basketball player.
Oh, wow.
And Hawk TV, don't you ever lie again.
Oh, he lied how? How he lied?
Like this.
LeBron is more well-rounded than most forwards to have ever played the small forward position.
And my response is 4 simple words with a lot of expletives deleted. Who told this lie?
And then playmaker ruined my day.
Take that down. I saw the score this morning and I cringed. I don't want to talk any more NBA stuff until April, which ain't going to happen because of what we do on Wednesdays.
Right.
I put the keywords fundamentally sound. Why did Rod and Keith run with that? Why? What the were you people thinking? Now, Victor, we got about 120 seconds. What did you find that was worse? I dare you. Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you.
Oh, see. So LeBron Social said something I sent to Snowman last night. This person said, quote, without a super team, Michael Jordan never made it out of the first round. Cool. And we have gone further. Off the rails. Once again. So LeBron Sexual said something I sent to Snowman last night. This person said, quote, without a super team, MJ never made it out of the first round. Close quote. The only response necessary is,
why the f you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my gosh, stop f***ing lying. Always lying to me. You lying so much. You making it hard for me. Yeah.
so let's get
My
this straight.
stomach hurts.
So let's get this straight.
My stomach freaking hurts.
So let's get this straight. I'm preparing
myself to be over the air with this show and others by not swearing.
So let me get this straight. First, it was a rookie Scottie Pippen was the ultimate reason why Michael Jordan got out of the first round with these Brown Sexuals. Now it is a super team. This is why
we're moving the blankety blank goalposts.
This is why I implore Brown Sexuals to study and do research, because that is so lazy of a take.
Who are we talking to and about here?
Yeah, true. Yeah, you're right. A fan base that takes massive amounts of So the Bulls had a super team in 1988. I'm sorry. And now
this is a team that barely got rid of freaking Granville Waiters.
So the Chicago Bulls had a super team in 1988.
A super team.
A super team. Had a super team
in 88.
In 1988.
When Charles Oakley helped dispatch Phil Hubbard, Mark Price, and the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round, and they went up against a real super team in the second round in the eventual Eastern Conference champion Detroit Pistons.
Oh, but there's a second part to it, Victor says.
Oh, no.
This Bronze Sexual also said,
oh, no.
Quote,
dear God.
His gang made it to the finals with nobody twice.
That's false.
Close quote.
That's false.
He did it once.
Absolutely freaking false.
He did it once, but he didn't do it a second time.
That's false.
Now I ask you two basketball historians, as Victor concludes.
Yes.
When has LeBron ever made it to the finals with nobody? 2007. That's probably the only time you can say he did make it to the finals with. In that team, he made it to the finals with Boobie Gibson and Super Glue. So I'll admit,
and Boobie Gibson rescued his ass in Game 6 in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Detroit Pistons.
So that's the closest to. So that's the closest to nobody that LeBron ever took a team to the finals with. Other than that, no. He has had at least one legit all-star alongside of him every time he went to the finals since then.
Golly, are people that stupid?
Yes, they are. They are brain to the dead.
Good grief.
2007 playmaker.
Yeah, 2007.
2008. Yeah, 2008 it was the Celtics and Lakers.
And in 2008, LeBron was supposed after 2008 and that 7-game war.
Yeah.
In that 7-game war against the eventual world champions.
Yeah, the NBA prepared for a Lakers versus Cavs showdown in 2009. And that started in the summer of 2008.
Yeah, the entire NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Shady, take us away, please.
Oh, before we bring him on, Victor says, now, that's what kills me, is he said LBJ made it to the finals.
But not win the damn thing.
Win the finals. Exactly. participation trophies matter more to bronzessals than actually
Well,
getting
Andrew
the trophy.
Toney did more in 80, 82, and 83 than LeBron has done in his 10 trips to the World Championship Series.
Oh, I love the Boston Strangler. Oh, my gosh.
And yes, I said Andrew bleeping Toney. Look it up. Now I'm going to step away and get breakfast, and I'll let Cole handle this. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, our guest has arrived, but before I bring him on, now batting, the man who always reminds us that with anything LeBron James, it's only Wednesday, and it only should be on Wednesday. Number 420, Wise El Jefe. Number 420.
What's going on, brother?
What's up, man?
I'm liking the new background. I'm liking it. Me like.
Yeah. Well, that actually, that's actually Brian. He selected that one.
Hey, listen, Brian's got some skills, so
He does.
I don't doubt it.
He does, no question. All right, and now, as he joins us every Friday morning at 8:35, well, now it's 8:40, Eastern, 7:40 now Central, the man behind the Shady Sports Network and a valuable contributor to the Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson program and family, one Mr. Sam Shady.
Good morning, fellas. How's it going?
My man Sam, what's going on, brother?
Not a whole lot. Just excited to get to the weekend, watch some more XFL football this weekend.
All right. Well, let's start with we'll start with the game last night. So how can I put this? It looks like Brian's wish might come true. It might be 2/3 of the way there. The Battlehawks go to 2-0.
Yes, sir.
With the victory last night. How do you think? What do you think about the Battlehawks so far?
I'm very encouraged by their performance so far. To be completely honest, I was not very high on them coming into the season. AJ McCarron was just not a sexy pick at quarterback for me. I thought that he was beyond his the point of return to the NFL. It turns out that he actually turned down NFL offers to come to the XFL to get a chance to play in front of his children. So I thought that was a really cool story about the whole thing with him. But yeah, basically right now the Battlehawks are well on their way to being undefeated when they home open in week 4, which should be very interesting. I mean, let's be real honest. I mean, St. Louis was one of the best supporters of the XFL in 2020. So giving them an extra 3 weeks to sell out that the dome there, it was probably a really smart decision, because I'm willing to bet in week 4, if they're 2-1, 3-0, that place is going to be rocking.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. They beat the Seattle Sea Dragons 20-18 last night. Sunday, though, this is what I wanted to talk to you about when I thought about all the XFL action. So the San Antonio Brahmas had the Battlehawks down 15-3 with 2 minutes to go, but they come out with an L.
Yep.
So how in the world did the Battlecats score 15 unanswered points within a 2-minute span?
So basically, this is exactly why you watch the XFL. So the XFL has something that the NFL has never introduced, a 3-point conversion. So basically, despite the fact that they were down by 12 points, all it took was a touchdown and a field goal for them to tie the game. So it changed the way they approached offensive football, which ultimately led to a victory, quite honestly. They ended up getting the touchdown, getting the 3-point conversion real quick. They were, back in the game. They got the 4th and 15 attempt, which is their version of an onside kick, or their alternate option to an onside kick. So it's definitely interesting to watch that as well. We saw the Vipers fail on that attempt, but we saw St. Louis convert it, ultimately score again and win the game, which the way they're winning these games has been extremely exciting. If you're not watching the XFL, you're missing out on an extremely good football.
Yes. Totally. Totally. Victor says, look, there's no need to ask for the real Sam Shady to please stand because you can never duplicate the man, Sam Shady. Yeah, that's true. Andrew, morning to you, sir. He says, good morning to you, Sam. All right, so we got the Battlehawks out the way. They're now 2-0 to start the season. What impressed you about DC's victory over the Sea Dragons 22-18 as they started their season 1-0?
So a little bit of transparency. After watching 9 straight hours of football on that weekend, my wife stepped in and said it's time to turn off the TV. So I did not catch the second half of the Seattle Dragons, Sea Dragons, and sorry, I'm
DC
blanking
Defenders.
the name of the team at the moment, the DC Defenders game, unfortunately, because when I turned off the game, it looked like the Sea Dragons were going to win. And I actually went as far as assuming they had won, and I was wrong. So they actually proved me wrong. Seattle lost the game, which it's kind of funny, but we have a little bit of a brewing Twitter battle with Seattle going right now because we did some preseason power rankings, and apparently the media person for Seattle saw them and was not too thrilled with our rankings for them. So they've been kind of chiming in on all of our posts and stuff when we predict them to lose. So it's been kind of fun.
Oh, well, I bet it has been. I bet it has been. All right, so the game that opened up XFL 3.0. And I sort of laugh when they actually, when the Renegades actually wanted to claim Arlington. Although, yes, I understand. I've been in the Metroplex area. Arlington is now where the Cowboys play. I understand that. But normally, whenever anything is in that vicinity, they claim Dallas. But the XFL is like, no, we're going to claim Arlington. So they end up beating the Vegas Vipers 22-20 to begin their season 1-0. What impressed you most about this game?
Well, you got to talk about the defense. The adjustments that they made in the second half were unreal. I mean, we went from thinking the Vipers were going to blow out Arlington in that first half when Jeff Badette had 2 touchdowns within the first 2 quarters of the game to watching the Vipers offense just get shut down in the second half. The Renegades were delivering extremely hard hits. Shout out to my guy Donald Payne on the Renegades, who actually delivered the finishing blow on that 4th and 15 attempt by the Vipers that separated the receiver from the ball. He was one of our former guests was when he was with the Gamblers last season. So kind of interesting to see how these guys have jumped over and still found success. But I did want to touch on that Arlington name a little bit. Let's just say there's some financial motivation behind why they picked Arlington and not Dallas.
Okay. So there, all right. I figured there had to be some motivation as to why they decided to name the team Arlington and not Dallas. Okay, all right. See, this is why we have Sam here. He knows all this stuff, backwards, forwards, and in and out. All right. The most impressive performance, obviously, to me in so thus far, period, is the Houston Roughnecks. They didn't really impress in terms of they just were dominant. They just simply were efficient on offense, but the defense, of course, Wade Phillips special. And they basically sent the Orlando Guardians home feeling bad with a 33-12 loss. Why do you think Wade Phillips' defensive system seemed to work, at least in this game?
Well, I think first of all, it's gonna work more often than not this season. One of the things that Wade Phillips does quite well, we saw it in the NFL several times when he was a defensive coordinator. We've heard players talk about it in Denver, in Dallas, in Buffalo, all the different stops that he's had. But basically, he lets players play. He'll scheme something up, and ultimately, as long as you're within your responsibility, you just play, you read and react. And that's something that players respond to quite well. A lot of times they don't like to be put in a box. They don't like to have to think too much while they're playing because it slows them down a little bit. When you're thinking on the field, you can't react as quickly as you would like. And the way Wade Phillips approaches it allows those players to read and react a little bit faster. So I think that's one of those things that it just translates well. It's always going to translate well. Players are always going to want to play for Wade Phillips and his scheme because of that. They get a little bit more freedom than they would in other schemes. But with that in mind, I mean, I think Wade Phillips was a perfect head coach for this league. It turns out that Mike Mitchell actually informed me that he was reached out to by the USFL and turned down the USFL, knowing that the XFL was coming. And it basically had something to do with the fact that he wouldn't be playing in Houston. Obviously, he's got really, really close ties to the Houston area. He was a Texans coach for quite a while there. He lives in the Houston area, so that's a big reason why he wanted to be involved in the XFL and be in Houston. So it makes a lot of sense. And then also Mike Mitchell was a big source of the information that I got involving the financial game that they had with Arlington versus Dallas.
Okay. Oh, nice. All right. And a little more on the inside baseball type of thing. Wade. Yeah, he was like a junior assistant. Way back when Bum Phillips was coaching the Oilers. So yes, his Houston ties run very deep and very far. So it doesn't surprise me that he wanted to actually coach a team in Houston. He's always had a lot of love for the city. All right, let's look ahead to the other 3 games that is on tap for this weekend, starting with the Saturday night tilt, the Vegas Vipers home opener. They go against the DC Defenders. What do you see in this game, and who do you favor?
Well, first of all, I'm very interested to see how the crowd looks. There was a lot of talk about the fact that we got such a delayed announcement on that Vipers Stadium that they might lack a little bit of attendance. I still expect to see around 8,000 fans, which was their goal from the get-go. So if we can see, around 8,000 fans, I think the XFL is still going to be thrilled with their turnout from the first 2 weeks of the season, especially with San Antonio hitting 24,000 some fans in week 1. Yeah. But as far as this game goes, it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I've talked about it heavily in the past. I think these are the 2 best quarterback rooms in the XFL. You've got the DC Defenders that have De'Aaron King, Eric Dungy, and then Jordan Teamu, a spring league veteran from XFL 2020, USFL 2022. And then you also on the other side have Luis Perez, one of the most experienced spring leagues quarterbacks you could possibly have. And then behind him is Brent Hundley, who I expect to take over at some point if Luis continues to struggle like he did last week. But the Vipers are one of the most talented teams in the league. I've talked about it all year long. Martavis Bryant, Jeff Badette, Vic Beasley. Give me the Vipers by 3. I mean, I'm going to continue to pick them until I can't pick them anymore. It might be an 0-5 record before I fall off this bandwagon.
All right, so he says the Vipers are going to be sent. Vipers fans are going to be sent home happy. Another home opener. This time, the Guardians in Orlando. They take on the Brahmas. Kickoff there is at 4 p.m. on Sunday. That's Eastern time, I should say. What are you looking for in this game? And do you see the Brahmas bouncing back from having victory close at hand, but walking away with an L?
This is going to be another tough game. Ultimately, I think the Brahmas have a very sour taste in their mouth after last week. I mean, you saw Hines Ward on the sideline. He was irate. He was irate with the way that game went. He wanted to win so bad in his debut as a head coach, which is to be expected. This is a guy who a couple years ago had some NFL interest as a head coach, got passed over in Houston, actually. Right. And ended up in the XFL, and this is kind of his opportunity to prove that he can be a head coach without having to climb through the assistant coaching ranks, which is what we would expect to see normally from someone like that. Personally, I think that the Brahmas are going to be extremely motivated this week to get a victory, even if they're on the road. So I personally, I think I'm going to be picking the Brahmas on this one, but it'll be interesting. It's a tight game. It could go either way.
All right, and the slate ends Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. The Roughnecks host the Renegades. So we have our first Texas on Texas crime in the XFL happening. Both teams are 1-0. Which team do you find to be more impressive of the two, and what do you see in this game?
This is a really tough one to pick. Personally, I like Arlington's roster overall more. I like their overall talent a lot better. I personally would have picked Kyle Sloter as a starting quarterback. I still think that he sees the starting job at some point this season. He played with the Breakers last season in the USFL. Longtime NFL quarterback, bounced around the Minnesota Vikings, Denver Broncos, all over the place. So he's very experienced. He's a solid quarterback, but instead they went with a rookie, Drew Plitt, who kind of struggled in week one. So I ultimately think, despite the fact that they got the victory, at some point Sloter will see a start. We might even see him in this game if it goes sideways. But with that being said, my doubts about Plitt at quarterback are simply too much. With Wade Phillips and Houston on the other side, I think they're going to be blitz happy like they were in week one. They put up 8 sacks in week one. So they're far and away the leader in the sack category already. And I fully expect them to continue that domination in week two. It wouldn't surprise me to see them rack up another 5 to 6 sacks this week, quite honestly.
One of our mutual brothers, Cool McCaney, says, I'm debating the Vipers or Roughnecks as my XFL team. Yeah, the way the Roughnecks defense showed himself, I'm thinking, ooh, that's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough road to hoe if they can keep playing that way. I want to ask, what player has impressed upon you this week? If you have to point a casual XFL fan toward the product and say, this player represents the product better than any other, thus far in the 5 games that's been played, who is that guy?
Man, there's so many players that could be picked out in this category, but I think you have to go with Jeff Badet. Jeff Badet is a guy that a lot of people have never even heard of unless you watched the USFL last season. He was with the Michigan Panthers briefly, but now he's with the Vegas Vipers, and he lit it up in the first quarter. I think he had the first half of the Vipers Renegades game before the defense made the adjustments, but I think he had 6 receptions, 93 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the first half alone. So, I mean, if you're looking for a guy who's going to take over a game and he has blazing speed, he's a guy who could very well make it back to the NFL eventually. Jeff Badet's your guy. I mean, he honestly, I think he ran something like a 4.29 at one point in his pro day. So, I mean, this dude's got wheels. Wow. So if you get him open and you give him a quarterback that can push the ball a little bit, not Luis Perez, no offense, Luis. I think if Brent Hundley enters that game, you're going to see Badet have some really, really big games because Hundley likes to push the ball a little bit more. We've seen that throughout his career. So definitely going to be watching Jeff Badet going forward. Little disappointed I didn't get him on my fantasy team, but definitely a guy to watch for sure.
Okay. And before we let you go, talk to me about another innovation that we saw, and that one is the kickoff. Now, from what I understand, I know there's more to it than just what I'm about to say. From what I understand, the team that is kicking, they can't move at all until the team which receives actually handles the kick. What went into the innovation of it, and also talk about how they line up on the field as well during kickoffs.
Well, this was basically the XFL's effort to reduce injuries on kickoffs. They did not want to eliminate kickoffs from the game entirely, which has been done in spring football in the past. But in order for them to make it safe enough to warrant keeping kickoffs and keeping them fairly close to what we are used to, they basically keep the defending team and the receiving blockers about 5 or 10 yards away from each other. So you're not getting a 30-yard sprint at each other first. So that in itself will cut down dramatically on injuries. And then on top of that, they've also, like you said, allowed the kick returner to actually catch the ball first, which in my mind, that's another thing that kind of cuts down on injury because that ball carrier is not getting blasted the second he catches the ball, and his head's up, he's looking for the ball, and all of a sudden he gets killed. I mean, we've seen it in the NFL time and again, you know, whether it's kick returns, punt returns, whatever, and they've kind of instituted rules to affect that as well. But this is something that I think is ultimately going to be probably adopted by the NFL. To be quite transparent,
That's what I was thinking.
I am not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. I know why it's there. I love the logic behind it, but it's really weird to watch to me. And I don't want to criticize the XFL. I want them to succeed, but I like the way the USFL has done it better. And that's just my personal opinion.
That's what I thought. That was the energy that I was feeling when I saw it. I was like, if this goes well and the NFL grabs a report for this past season in XFL and there's very few injuries on kickoffs, I can see them trying this in the preseason. Maybe as early as this one.
What is it that the USFL does, though?
The USFL just has basically an NFL style kickoff. It's not necessarily to an extent where it's going to necessarily limit injuries per the USFL standards, but they actually backed it up. So you are kicking from the 20 instead of the 25. You see a lot more kick returns. They're kind of bringing it back in the game. And to me, like I said, it's one of those things where you can't like have a wedge or anything like that, like the NFL. But at the same time, the kick returns are so damn exciting that to limit them or to remove them from the game, to me, is just a disservice to fans. And again, like, I understand player safety. I completely understand that. And I want all these guys to stay healthy, stay successful, you know, fully live out their potential in their careers. But at the same time, there's still ways to play and have a kickoff in the game and be safe. You know, you just don't headhunt. It's that simple.
Right.
Teach guys how to tackle correctly, you know, tell them not to lead with the crown of their head. That's what we need to be focused on, not how to eliminate plays in the game that are, you know, exciting.
You mean like what Major League Baseball is doing with the shift?
Exactly.
Yeah. You and I are like this with that, Sam, because my thought is always teach proper technique. You will eliminate a lot of these injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with you on that.
And
all right.
Actually, real quick, sorry, I don't want to take
No, go ahead.
Yeah, how about those Battlehawks, Sam?
Oh, incredibly exciting. But I was going to say the A7FL is a no-pad tackle football league. Their injury rate is so low, it would blow your mind. And it's all it is proper tackling form. That's all it is.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. So tell people where they can find you, my friend, and what should they look forward to in the content that you have to come in the next week?
So we got quite a bit coming down, actually. I'm going to have a very big interview coming tonight. It will not be live. I think I'm going to be dropping it at the beginning of next week. Head coach of the Pittsburgh Maulers, Ray Horton, two-time Super Bowl winner, will be on the channel this upcoming weekend. Again, another interview I'll probably be editing and dropping later this week. Owner Jawad Yatim of the Massachusetts Pirates will be on the channel. And then Monday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, we will be having episode 3 of Spring Football Reports. A USFL News Hub writer, Andy Paul Murray, will be on to break down the XFL contracts so we can kind of explain to fans what these guys are making, kind of get away from the mindset these guys are making millions, because they're not. But at the same time, one thing I wanted to break and kind of tell you guys about is a recent article we dropped yesterday that's kind of blowing up right now. Darius Geis is back in football. He has signed with the Vegas Nighthawks of the IFL. So go check out that article right now. It's all over Facebook, Twitter. Basically, check it out, shadysportsnetwork.com. And then, as you can tell, we got some merch finally. So thank you, Cool, for this awesome logo.
Yeah, Cool wrecked it with that logo.
So definitely check that out as well.
Yeah. Well, he always joins us every Friday at this time, and he just gives you all of the football knowledge that you can handle and then some. If you want to know football, you go to this man, Sam Shady, the Shady Sports Network. We thank you so much as always, and continued success in what you do. And we look forward to seeing how you explode. Oh my, I'm just looking forward to see how all this works for you.
I can't wait, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys, and then everything you've done for me as well. So, you know, Cole, I mean, you haven't really told anybody, but you're working on some stuff for me out behind the scenes. So I appreciate that. Brian, everything you got going on, everything you've helped me with behind the scenes, I appreciate it. Wise, same thing. You've done a lot for me behind the scenes. So, like, I really can't tell you guys thank you enough. We wouldn't be anywhere near where we are now if it weren't for all three of you, man. And the two guys that are about to come on as well. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Cool. Thank you, Victor, Andrew, everybody who always tunes in. You guys are amazing. I appreciate all of you.
Well, you're amazing too, Sam. Thanks for dropping by. We appreciate you every Friday.
Quality work, but better quality human being. Sam Shady, the Shady Sports Network. Have a wonderful weekend, my friend, and I hope everything is fine. We will see you next Friday.
Sounds good. Have a great weekend, guys.
All right. Again, that's Sam Shady, the Shady Sports Network. And he's joining us as he joins us every Friday. And, it is Friday, right? That's right.
Yes.
It's Friday.
The final hour of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson for the week starts right about now.
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular. Ryan McCoffey now joins us this morning.
That's what you need to do to beat Josh Allen. You need to make him uncomfortable.
Hour 2, time for some Spivey notes. And here's Jay.
Well, I know he's only in his 3rd year, but they're just wasting Justin Herbert.
Hour 2,
the hardest working content creator I know, the playmaker.
Hey, LeBron James, the greatest scorer of all time. Hey.
Hour 2,
the one, the only Christopher Dietz.
They rewarded Ohio State for not playing, and they punished USC for playing.
Hour 2, Sam Shady.
Oh, man. It's been a roller coaster ride if you were a Philadelphia Stars fan.
Hour 2, that's Big Ben, the man in charge of the BS3 network.
And if I see Kurt 2 Chainz Cousins out.
Hour 2, Chris Bay's joining us.
Oh my God! Oh, this game! Oh, way to go, Sammy!
Hour 2 was
Oh man, I thought I missed it.
What in the all types of blue hell?
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular, and it starts right now. Final hour of the week.
All right.
And we are fully loaded.
Hold on. I got to beef for someone. I do got to beef for someone. Victor Locke.
Leave him alone.
You keep doing it to us. You keep doing it to us, Victor. Keep doing it to us. It's all right. It's okay.
Wait. Why are you beefing with Victor?
Because Victor knows why. Victor knows. We got hit with it the other day. It was uncalled for. It was uncalled for.
But you called for it.
No, I didn't call for anything. No, I did not. I did not call for anything.
You called for it.
Brian.
What?
Stop it.
And that's one of the I'm expecting you to tell me 3 simple words, man.
It's just
don't do it.
Victor.
No, not that.
Because it's Victor's fault. It's Victor's. I was watching the show, and all of a sudden,
you saw that.
Cole goes, Victor, here you go. It smacks us, right? And it was
Wise called for it.
It was at the end of the show, so you couldn't say nothing to Victor because he had.
I did.
Cole did it. Smooth.
I don't know what you're talking about. I did.
Let's see. I didn't want to mess the rest of the show up, so I was like, okay, I'll save it for the end.
You already messed the rest of the show up. I just thinking about it.
But that I did not bring it up. That was
yes,
Victor.
You did. Yes, you did.
No. That was Victor.
He started. That was all y'all.
He said, "What did I do now? I said nothing about nothing."
That's a lie, Victor. That's a lie.
Oh Lord.
It's
Okay.
Victor's fault. But anyway.
All right. So let's bring on our 2 guests that's coming on.
See, and I see Cool smiling right now, wiping his tears from laughter.
Yes. Yeah, this is a brother we love so dearly. The NFC Beast, Eagles Elite, so many other programming that he has. He's one of the most charismatic guys when it comes to sports content, and he is a personal friend of mine. Welcome to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, one Cool McCain.
Gentlemen, what it do?
What's going on, my brother?
Not to laugh, Cool.
Hey man, y'all wild.
Why are you trying not to laugh?
Because I know
I
it's
saw
coming
you
anyway.
I saw you wipe your tears from laughter.
Hey man, it's coming anyway. All 3 y'all up here, and I think B coming too. Oh,
that's right.
That's
right. And since Cool let in, that's what I will do now. And as he joins us every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, from the Metroplex, the owner, the manipulator, the operator of the BS3 Network, the one, the only Ben Suddeth.
Good morning, fellas. NFC Beast, man. We in here, man.
No 2 Chainz cousins here this morning, Ben.
Yeah, you had to get those chains back.
Wait. And Cole had to find the one picture where the chains weigh more than Kirk Cousins.
I was looking for it.
Yeah,
I was.
You gotta make it work. Once they lost in the playoffs, he had to hand those back to whoever those were.
Yeah,
he did.
And then you mixed it with 2 Chainz himself. I mean, what's worse, the fact that the chains that Kirk Cousins had on weighed more than him, or Cole mixed it with the actual artist in question?
Oh my!
Great.
And you, Ben, opened your mouth and said it.
That was brilliant, Ben. That was absolutely brilliant.
I will never forget that. And if I see Kirk 2 Chainz cousins, and I see that picture right there. I see that picture right there.
That was brilliant.
You know what's bad though, Ben? My wife caught an opening of the second hour, and she heard Kirk 2 Chainz cousins and saw the picture, and she has a question for you. Actually, it's directed toward Cole, who put the visual behind the phrase.
All right, well, let's help wipe me out. What's the question?
Mr. Snow asks, "What the hell was that?"
Ben said it. I mean,
I know.
Talk about Kirk Cousins.
You visualized it,
and he put 2 Chainz together. I was like, "Oh, this is perfect."
Yeah, and
that was easy. The only problem was finding the right pictures for both.
All right.
If it's a nickname that comes to mind, I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
And that one was a brilliant one. All right, let's get in. Let's get into it. Hawk says, "Talk to be nice about Eric Bieniemy." We're not going to do that. We're going to tell the truth. I'm not talking nice about Eric Bieniemy. I'm going to speak the truth, and it goes like this: we will see what he can do with the Redskins.
Okay, well, that'll be a wonderful question to begin with. One of the myriad of NFC Beast brethren, Ben.
Yeah, because they're all here.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the offensive coordinator extraordinaire, Eric Bieniemy, no longer being with the Chiefs, but now he is with the rival Commanders?
2 Chainz Bieniemy. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the best option on the table. I think maybe him and the Chiefs kind of came to an impasse, if you will, and I think he had to make a choice to do something else. I would rather him not go to the Commanders of all teams, just because I think it's in a lot of up and down turmoil. The team's about to be sold. But I do wish him the best. I do think he's got a pay raise. He's got a assistant head coach title. So I wish him the best, but I think it's going to be, if you wanted a challenge, if that was his goal, he definitely got a challenge on his hands.
I totally agree with that.
So what's
cool.
the first thing do you think he installs?
No. Well, all right, cool. So from the Eagles' perspective, how do you like this move from Eric Bieniemy? And yeah, you can talk about how you think this is an injustice type of move in general for a guy as established as him, coming from an offense that has taken the team that he ran to no worse than an AFC Championship appearance the last 5 years.
Yeah. So here's the thing, man. I want to say first, I understand that Eric Bieniemy said he did not call plays in his introductory press conference. But if you want to sit here and believe the words of LaShawn McCoy, Shady himself, when other players are coming out and having a different story about Bieniemy, that's on you, right? Yeah, a couple of things to think about. One is you have a scripted 20-30 plays to begin the game.
Yeah, that's customary of every West Coast offense. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you going to tell me that Eric Bieniemy is not the main person helping script those plays? Does Andy Reid have input? I mean, he's the head coach, he's the offensive coach.
Of course, you're gonna have input. Yeah,
but Eric Bieniemy is the one making sure that script happens, right? There's been times on the sideline where Andy Reid is standing there looking like he's dreaming about a cheeseburger, a cheesesteak, or whatever, and they're on offense, and Bieniemy is up with the thing in front of him, and his head is moving. So if you're telling me he's not involved in play calling, I'm not going to believe that. Now, if you're telling me that Andy Reid is the primary play caller, okay,
I can see that. Yeah,
but to say he's not calling any plays, I'm not accepting that. You also have other guys.
I didn't like that
were in
either.
the same exact situation. They got head coach jobs and he didn't.
Matt Nagy,
Brad
Childress.
Hold on, I want to bring up something. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Go
ahead, Wise.
Both of Cool's the offense and defense coordinators.
Yeah,
head coaching
yeah,
jobs.
John Gannon and Shane Steichen. Yeah,
and I've been talking with me and Cool. We did the NFCBs, and Cool's been ripping these coaches a new all year. He's been going at Gannon. He's been.
He has not liked Steichen or Gannon at times
at all.
Mm-hmm. I've heard it too.
You have not been nice to Gannon at all.
Has he deserved it?
So
unfortunately, the Super Bowl he proved your criticism right.
So how is it a man who's been a part of 2 Super Bowl championship teams
and ones that have been to 3,
won 2 of them, can't get a job?
17.
What does it say about
coaching offers?
Is it him?
Interviews.
Is it him as a person, or is it they don't believe in his coaching abilities? What is it that someone who's coming from a successful organization not get a job?
Consistency with the organization too, because remember, Bieniemy came up through the organization. He didn't just go there for a year or 2. He's been there.
Yeah.
And you think about Jonathan Gannon. You cannot tell me that Jonathan Gannon went in and had a great interview. This guy sucks on the microphone. Have you ever seen the Eagles' defensive?
This is what I'm
terrible on the microphone.
Who's been going in on him?
I guess the Cardinals don't give a. I guess the Cardinals don't give a crap about if he sucks on the microphone.
And I will
I'll add this.
Go ahead.
I'll add this real quick. Maybe it's Andy Reid, because if you look at a lot of situations, I believe the head coach is vouching for the assistant. You look at Sean McVay, all the people that he's got jobs, I don't think that was 100% based on that person. I think it was based on the head coach's backing. So maybe Andy hasn't been putting in a good word for Bieniemy. Maybe that's a possibility. And I think I think he wanted to get from under Andy Reid.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I have a full theory laid out.
well, if you want to know my thoughts in full about that, because I did talk about that, you can watch the latest episode of Cold Sports where I do go in on that subject, because I find it to be ridiculous in that regard. But yes, you just got the NFC East perspective from Ben, who's a Cowboys fan, from Cool, as you can see, who's an Eagles fan, and from Wise, who's a Giants fan.
And Cole, if I could add one more quick thing. I ain't going to all of it, but just one more quick thing. Bieniemy, I'm mad that he did not interview with the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, I know we have a guy internally that they want to promote, but at the end of the day, he should have got an interview, right? There shouldn't be an offensive coordinator job open that Eric Bieniemy did not get an interview for if he wants to make a lateral move. I do like the fact that the Commanders stepped up and said, we'll give you the assistant head coach title.
If you can look at it this way, you can look at it at his standpoint as if the offense does great, right? But they still lose, and Ron Rivera loses his job. Could it be could he be the next stepping stone? Could that be the next direction he goes with?
To me, when you stamp assistant head coach to the title, that's exactly what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Well, yeah, that's where I was going to. Definitely, I completely agree with y'all. You got that title. You know you're calling plays because the head coach is a defensive coach. So there's no way you can try to say he's not the play caller. There's no more this BS that he can't call plays or he doesn't call plays. The offense is his to run. You got a nice, significant pay raise. And I feel like that he realized that he wasn't appreciated properly in Kansas City. And winning is great. But like you said, when you're not getting the head coach, if Andy Reid calls, I'm going to tell you how Doug Peterson got the job with the Philadelphia Eagles. Andy Reid called and said, you should hire my guy. He's not doing that for Eric Bieniemy, or these people would not be like, we're not going to hire him.
But
Right?
yeah, you're right, because he did that for PDC, he did that for
He did it for
Brad
Nagy.
Childress, and he did that
He did
for
it
Matt
for
Nagy.
Childress. Yeah. So the thing is, Eric Bieniemy realized, look, not only is this not benefiting me long term, it may be hurting me. So let me go somewhere and show what I could do. And as y'all were saying, one or two things can happen. This year or next year, Rivera is done, because at some point Rivera's got to be tired of coaching. You know, they may have a little wink handshake agreement. Hey, we're gonna get his assistant head coach title, we'll get you a nice raise. Rivera leaves, you slide into the big chair, bro. Now, if that happens, cool. Or this gives him everything that people can't argue about that he doesn't do.
Well, and on top of it, Rivera is still battling, and just like Snowman. I mean, he's also dealing with cancer issues too. So health wise, he might not be long for the sideline. Go ahead, Wise.
If you give him a quarterback, he has some good running backs. He has some really good receivers. He has a decent tight end. You give him a quarterback, who knows what he can do with this offense?
Exactly. Yeah, it's either that or he's going to get a head coaching job somewhere else in the next 1 or 2 years. You could say he doesn't interview well. I guarantee he interviews better than Jonathan Gannon.
Well,
because if you can't sit up and answer questions that you know are coming without stuttering and looking crazy,
well,
you expect me to have this guy give the interview and do great. No,
Well, Hot TV says it's not on Andy Reid, in my opinion. Let's place blame on inherent racism. Partially, but it is partially Andy Reid's fault too, because I do agree with Cool. I think dude is not co-signing for him, and I think he's. I personally think ultimately he selfishly wanted to keep him on the sideline, and he wanted to have the same situation in KC as what happened with Tampa, with Bruce Arians grooming the path for Todd Bowles to take over. That's what I think was going to happen, and I think what that Eric Bieniemy saw was, I don't think it really is going to happen sooner rather than later. So if that was the case, I need to move to where I can get to a position sooner. And he looked, when he actually was celebrating a championship, and it's like, I'll be doggone, all the head coaching positions are taken. So that's what happened. Switching gears, just to have a little fun. Ben, Michael Parsons, get your mans. Get your mans.
Oh, Micah. He needs somebody to supervise his tweets before he tweets them. All right, you need a tweet supervisor. I get it. You got an opinion. I get it. But yeah, man, just have somebody read it. Have your girlfriend read it. Have somebody read it. You may need to edit some words. But that is Micah. I think we've come to know that he is outspoken about issues. And he gets on Twitter. Twitter's not the best place to get your thoughts out. But that's this generation.
Yeah, but that thing is blasted, boy.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I love the way you said it's not the best place to get your thoughts out. Like, I love the control and how you said that so calmly.
That's been, you work alongside him a lot. You know that's been. That's been all day. Oh, all right. So shifting gears to basketball, the Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving tandem finally got their first victory together with a 142-116 victory over the Spurs. Tell me about how Kyrie Irving has been received in the Metroplex, and how far do you think the Mavericks can go?
I mean, he's got some love, man. I haven't heard any. We don't want Kyrie, or he's a head case. I haven't heard any of that over these past couple of weeks. I think the ceiling is definitely. I think the Western Conference Finals for this particular year. I think they definitely look better offensive team. Defense is going to be the issue, when you get further along. But he's receiving love so far. Him and Luka joking around. I mean, I see that there is some chemistry there. So only time will tell, when it comes to Kyrie, and I'm just saying that based on his past. But it looks good so far, and the Metroplex is buying Kyrie jersey. So it's a good sign.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll open this up to the room, and I know that your time is extremely short, Ben. But I'll just open this up to the room. Do you think that we're going to see Brooklyn Kyrie in Dallas for the rest of this year, or do you think he's so happy he doesn't want to upset the apple cart in the Metroplex?
Yeah, I think he'll be here. I think there's a lot of positive things here in Dallas. I think the culture here is calmer. It's not New York. It's not LA. He's not going to get heavy questions. I don't think he is, and I think he'll be able to. I think more so live a low key life instead of being like every place you go, you're in front of a camera. Because in Dallas, nobody got time for that. Plus, it's the Cowboys country, so
yeah, you're right.
The Mavs are second fiddle, sometimes even third fiddle, depending on what sport is hot at the moment. So I think it's a perfect situation for him.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Especially with a fan base that's like, we're going to win Super Bowl, right? All year long. You're right about that.
Right. Everybody just runs to Cowboys content, even when it's not Cowboys season. And the Mavs get talked about the absolute least on the radio. It's like an afterthought. Like, yeah, the Mavs won. Moving on to Michael's tweets. Yeah. Hold on real quick before I go.
Go ahead, man.
They have a segment on what did Micah tweet today on the radio. I don't know if it's a daily or a weekly segment, but they have a full segment on what did Micah tweet. So, that tells you right there.
What did Micah tweet?
Then there's a theory among Eagles fans, right? That Micah Parsons really wants to be an Eagle. So he's doing everything he can to ensure that the Cowboys are not interested in re-signing him.
Well, if that's the case, if that's the case, he needs to talk ill as much as he possibly can about Steven and Gerald.
Yeah.
He really wants out. All he has to do is agree that Dak is the white Kirk Cousins that got Amari Cooper out of there, just like that.
Cool. I do
said that.
Something though.
I don't believe him.
Lord, man.
Okay.
But before you say that, Wise, Ben, I know you got to go. So tell the people where they can find you and what's coming on tap for things like the forecast and other shows that you do.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate that. So at BS3 Network, all avenues of social media, BS3 TV Live for the Roku. Also BS3 TV if you have a Roku TV or device. Coming up today, we have Cole Sports, his latest episode at 2 Central. And then at 8 Central, we'll have Poppy J and Wise. Looking forward to another episode there. And then coming up on the forecast on Monday, we'll be reviewing Louis Armstrong, Black and Blues documentary. So be on the lookout for that coming up Monday. And I appreciate you guys.
Oh, no problem. If you want to get real raw movie reviews, the forecast is the place. Mondays, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. Check it out. And the man who runs it all, the owner, the middle player, the operator of the BS3 Network, Ben Sutter, joins us every Friday morning. And I'm so glad you joined us today. Thank you so much, brother. Love you.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Take care.
You too, man. That is Ben Sutter III, again, owner of the BS3 Network. Okay, Wise, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but he had to run. Go ahead, sir.
Cool. Come get your fans here. Like, they are crying. Seriously. They are crying about the Super Bowl here.
Hey, man.
The field. Oh, the refs had it in for us.
2 weeks.
Like seriously. Y'all lost.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, before you do cool, there was a picture that I think you had to use to describe the loss that you all had, and it was a picture of Jalen Hurts fumbling, and it was photoshopped to where Nick Bolton grabbed the face mask. Yes. And I told these butthurt, not you obviously, cool, because you weren't butthurt, but I told these butthurt Eagles fans of like, that was not a face mask. If for any other thing, Jalen has a face guard on the head, on his eyes. So how could he pull the face mask? And so I
Yeah.
actually had to find video evidence of, okay, look at this part, look at this second, and you'd see the face mask wasn't touched. Lord.
Yeah, I was just like, come on, man. Like, because what happens, I had a bet with a Chiefs fan that I know. I'm not calling out who that person is. Piss on them for doing that to me. But
and yet that's exactly playfully what you're doing.
and well, I'm not calling their name out. I definitely want to call them out. But so they said you got to use this.
You started this.
I was like, bro, why would you do that? That's cold blooded. But hey, you make the bet, you pop off, you got to pay up. But yeah, man,
that's true.
My fan base, I mean, it hurts, right? Because we feel like there were some things that were bogus. Like me personally, I feel like the Devontae Smith made the catch. I feel like that was a catch.
It was a catch.
Not a catch. I feel like it was a catch. If you
was
give
a
us
catch.
that changes the game, right? Yeah. I'm also mad at my own team though, because on 3rd and 9, we take the smallest offensive weapon that we have, smaller than Devontae Smith and Kenneth Gainwell, and throw him the ball in the flat on 3rd and 9. What in the holy HELL is he supposed to do in open field with no blockers, needing to go 9 yards?
That is blasphemous. How dare you? How dare you say such a thing?
And then there, to me, and people wanted to point
at that play, Cool was saying,
"Oh hell no!"
I definitely was. And then the thing that made me the maddest about it is we get to 4th down, and you kick a field goal. We were up 10. We come all the way down the field. We're up 3. We go back up 10. We put pressure on the Chiefs. What do we do? Kick a field goal. We take the soft punt way out, and we never have a lead again in the game. Great job, Shane Steichen. Get the freak out of here. Thank you for leaving.
And people circle, well, this is proof that Jalen Hurts isn't a winning quarterback. He fumbled. I'm like, dude, Mahomes threw 2 picks in the first Super Bowl he won, but you don't talk about the 2 picks he threw. You talk about the fact he won the game. So no, you missing with that.
Mahomes
so
Jalen Hurts either.
Listen,
but besides that, to me, the game comes.
I'm gonna go ahead and step away. My stomach's not feeling good.
All right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and step out.
All right, bro.
All right, brother.
Yeah, take care, bro. But the thing that upset me the most in terms of watching that game from the Eagles standpoint was the Eagles allowed that particular offense of the Chiefs to only score 7 points in the first half. So you mean to tell me you could not get that same offense that you got off the field? You couldn't get them off the field second half once.
But see, here's the thing, Cole. We didn't really get them off the field in the first half. What we decided to do in the first half was actually run the ball. But in the second half, run the ball. Oh, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do any of the things that was successful in the first half. We're going to go change the game plan to things that suck. And then we expect to still win the game.
Well, yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree with the Schleichen philosophy in the second half. I figured you should have danced with brung you. I mean, you had the time possession almost 2-1 in the first half. You should have kept going and kept running the ball. I agree with you there.
What's with the teams going away from what was working for them in the first half?
And Nick, I want to say this, Nick, you run around talking about you expect to get back to the Super Bowl. I'm gonna tell you this. I hope you do, but I'm starting to watch you too because these were your coordinators. And you're an offensive coach, so why'd you let that idiot do that in the second half?
Oh, you going hard on Sirianni too? Man.
Listen, he ain't been nice to none of those coaches.
Dude, we were in the Super Bowl and we blew the game. Cool. And I'm not taking nothing away from the Chiefs, but we blew that game.
I can't argue with that because you're right.
I
believe you. I'm with you. Oh, I know.
He's been ripping them. Even when they were winning, he was ripping them a new one.
Oh, I know.
Even when they're winning, he was criticizing play calling. Even when they were winning,
man, Cool and I would have conversations just by ourselves, and he'd say, "I'm not getting too high, man. I mean, we got to tighten this up. Got to tighten this up. Got to tighten this up." I mean, even like for example, when the Eagles demolished the Titans 38-10, he's like, "Yeah, that was a great performance from Hurts. I love seeing that from him. That run offense though sucked."
Yep.
And then what the funny thing though is about it with him is I can relate with him so much because that's how I would be. I would focus on, okay, There was parts, yes, where my team did well. I want this part to be better.
And that was all year. That was
If
all
you want
year
to win a
with him.
Super Bowl, you can't go out there with this mess, right? You can beat teams in the regular season. You can go against teams that you may have an advantage on in certain situations and use those advantages. But when you have to play another team that's in the same stratosphere as you, that's just as good as you, right? You have to go out there and actually execute. You have to go out there and figure out what's working and use it. And if it's not broke, don't go at halftime and turn into a fairy coach and try to do this foolishness. Continue to play what's working, right? If the pass game is what's working, continue to throw the ball. But controlling the time of the clock and keeping one of the best quarterbacks in the league today off the field is what's working for you by controlling the time of possession. Why would you go away from that?
And that is the best defense against any offense that is like Patrick Mahomes led with the Chiefs. So it is that time, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the bottom of hour number 2 on a Friday. Snowman, the Morning with Cole Johnson show. And you know what that means. It's time for me to push that button.
Don't soil this program by putting crap on it. Joe Buck, I cannot take him. I just no dice. I'm glad Carlos Boozer finally took the kiwi off his face. It should be on your shoes, not your face. It's kiwi shoe polish, for God's sake. LeBron should come clean about his age. I wish, baby Jesus, that I had alcohol in this container because I need some after watching Screaming A. Smith.
Baby Jesus? Really?
6 pounds, 7 ounces. Go tell 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies that Chris Bass will be in the air.
Ladies and gentlemen, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hookah whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the mighty Chris Bass.
Thank you, dead Don Cornelius. Or maybe I thought you were dead Cornelius because he's taking a dirt nap. First of all, thank you. Good morning to all. A happy BOOMShockalakah to the mad scientists, to Wise All. I see Cool Breeze in the house, like That's a child on punishment. How you doing, gentlemen?
Good morning, my brother. Good morning.
Doing good. Snowman sends his regards. He had to take his leave because he wasn't feeling all that well, but he says hello to you.
I understand.
All right. Let's climb into the brain of one Chris Bass. What's on it?
Well, I was checking out the NBA All-Star Weekend this past last weekend, and I must say, Mac McClung, I think, single-handedly saved the NBA dunk contest. And I, for one, enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice synergy between him, of course, being signed by the Sixers, and then getting the award from the legendary Dr. J, Julius Erving, and the award being named after him. And I said this last week because it seemed like the NBA got a little more lackadaisical in their All-Star Weekend. I mentioned before, and just paraphrasing myself, about bringing on college students since the NIL is in place, to have them kind of shake it up in the dunk contest, something like that. Because that way you got these quote-unquote youngsters coming in and shaking up the whole thing that will get off their dead asses and start doing more. And so I think with Mac McClung doing what he did, shook up the apple tree. So I think that was needed. But I really enjoyed his dunks. I think it was very creative.
Okay. Wise, what was your thoughts on the All-Star Weekend and slam dunk contest in particular?
Like Bass said, he brought some entertainment back to the dunk contest, man. You seen this 6'2" white boy came and just was dunking on everybody. Yeah, he was, and his dunks were pretty good. They weren't like they were corny dunks. He was doing some really good dunks.
Yeah, cool.
Well, I saw the replay because I was actually watching the XFL game instead because I just completely tuned out to the dunk contest. But I did see the replays, and it was some good dunks. But I do want to say one thing, and I want to say this adamantly. The All-Star game was trash. Y'all get shamed for putting that trash out for people to see.
Yes. Cool. I 100% agree with you. Yes, the All-Star game was horrible.
But the game is never really.
No. The games recently haven't really been.
way trashier than even last year. This year,
I'm saying
year
the
was
games recently
trash.
have not been bad. They have not been good. Yes, but especially this year. This year was hot garbage. Oh my gosh. But yeah, again, you want to know my opinions on the All-Star weekend, you just go to listen to my latest episode of Cold Sports where I take it to task.
Yeah, I have plenty more to say, but I'll say that on the play calls tonight. But
So you say, Mr. Bass, you say that you think Mac McClung saved the slam dunk contest. I guess my question to you is, why would the NBA have to resort to a G Leaguer in order to do so?
Because a G Leaguer is hungry. He wants to be next level. And he would do whatever it takes to get that shine, get that next contract. So he's hungrier than the ones who are already belly full.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. I wanted you to say exactly what you just said, because that is the problem I have with the slam dunk competition. You have these guys who are bench players who they really could care less about being there because they take after the stars of the league, who they could care less in being in the All-Star weekend too. And it's like the line in Remember the Titans where they said attitude reflects leadership. And you're seeing it every year. You see it in All-Star weekend. It's like, the catcher fan doesn't care about who's in the game or in the contest, and they could care less about being in the contest. So that part is missing, and it's like okay, I want to see how it was back in the day where you had guys who actually were starters. They actually had this competitive gene. They wanted to prove their mettle, and it made the competition watchable.
Well, you had some names in the 3-point shooting contest. Dame Lillard and then ended up winning, but of course you want your best 3-point shooters in the contest. Like,
and not all
you
the
want to
best
see
3-point
Steph
shooters
Curry.
were there.
You want to
The
see
three-point
Klay
shooting
Thompson.
contest is always great, right?
Yeah.
The 3-point shooting contest is great. I watch 3-point shooting contest, but when they
Yeah.
start saying NBA Saturday night, they start talking about the dunk contest. What else is on? That's what I do now. Like
Exactly.
I need to watch.
100. Yes.
And it's because the last big name player that I remember, and I'm gonna say he's a star, but a big name player was Aaron Gordon when he got robbed by Dwayne Wade, and Dwayne Wade, you ought to be ashamed of yourself for that. But
And he
that's
wasn't
the
even
last-
starting. Yeah. And he
Yeah,
wasn't
and
even
that's the
starting
last,
by
like,
then.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He still wasn't starting. He's starting now, but he wasn't even starting then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have to get those guys to say, I'm committed to doing at least one dunk contest, right? Guys like LeBron. LeBron don't want to do the dunk contest because he knows these other guys could outdunk him in that type of environment. You got guys like Ja that won't do the dunk contest. I don't want Zion to ever do a dunk contest because you already hurt too much. So you need to stay away. You one of the people I say stay away. Don't you go in there. You stay layups and jump shots. We don't need you to dunk the ball the minimum as possible because you've been broke another hamstring or pulled a daggone bone or something. Who knows what you be doing?
Are you saying that he needs to be more like Zebo now?
Yes. Yes. Because you want to have a career, and we keep seeing like every year it's something. So just you chill. But a lot of these other guys, and you don't have to do it 5-10 times.
Mm-hmm.
But if they would just do it once, right? If you just go once.
Yeah, I mean that's what Kobe Bryant did. He did it once and won it, and it was like, okay, well, I got my fill. I'm gone.
Yeah, that would fix the problem. Because if every year you had the young stars just doing one, that fixed the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go back to like 8 people. Just 4 people stuff is trash too.
Victor says, I'm actually thinking about watching the dunk contest from 1985 to 1991 on Saturday just to get a feel for the energy back then. Yeah. That's another thing. The slam dunk competition in these days, even with the one that Mac McClung participated in Sunday, except for him, it lacked energy. I mean, it lacks energy. It's like
the showmanship is gone. The showmanship is gone.
It's more about trying to do something ridiculous move than actually.
It's a lot like a lot of the great dunkers made it a show, made it a spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
These guys just want to try to get the. I don't know. They just. there's no personality in what they're doing.
I got it, Wise. They don't have any je ne sais quoi. That's what they miss.
Good Lord.
Yes.
and thank you, Victor. He says the lack of all stars at the All-Star weekend. I'm sorry, that was Brady Cole. Thank you. I appreciate
Am
that.
I saying what you said, Monday Playmaker? I don't know. I didn't get to watch the show Monday. Maybe we agree.
Oh man. What?
He said, "Am I saying Cole?" Playmaker said, "Am I saying the same thing that he said Monday?" I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I am. You know.
All right. So you were happy about Matt McClung, and hopefully, hopefully, Chris, he has saved the slam dunk competition. And I like where you're going because I think that is missing. The hunger of wanting to impress, I think, needs to come back. And I agree with you, both you guys too, Wise and Cool. The showmanship needs to come back too, because it's not just about the tricks you do. It's about actually entertaining the crowd. I mean, you got 20,000 people in the state in the arena. You got to put on the show. All right. So, what else has been on your mind, dear?
Let me continue that real quick and go on to my next thought. So, going back to the 3-point contest, which is pure. When you have a pure stroke, ain't nothing like it. All net had that little twing when you get it all net at the end of the net. Dame Dollar was fantastic. I mean, his shot is pure, man. That exactly he did that. It's lights out. And again, I have an issue. And once again, these players can do what they want to do. Like John Morant. John Morant goes to the hole at his size is incredible. During a game, not just, layups on. I thought during a game, dunking on people and everything else, he was asked to be a part of the dunk contest. He declined. I said, that's kind of, that's raw of him to say. He's entitled to how he wants to do and everything else, but it would be a little more exciting because I know it gets dicey because back in the day when you had the NBA contest and the dunk contest, there was a feeling of pride. Right. Basically, before you had some players like young players like Kobe, Michael Jordan, and them, they maybe do it once or twice. Then the focus became more on the championship ride because you're having fun. I mean, who can sit there and say you got drafted, you got voted into NBA All-Star Weekend, and you get a chance to have fun? And so I think because of the sum, not all, the dollar amount that they get with these contests, don't get me wrong, go get your bag. I ain't mad at that. But still have the passion for what got you the bag in the first place. I think some people just get too comfortable.
Agreed.
100% agree. Wise?
It's giving these players the options. I get it. I understand some of them don't want to compete, whatever. But you have to at least put some names in this competition, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 100%. I'm sorry, Matt McClung, he got hops. I get it. I understand. But the dude was on a 10-day contract with the Philadelphia Sixers. What had happened had he not signed that contract?
Right.
Who were they going to get to be in the dunk competition?
And he's back in the G League as we speak.
So it's like you're not, again, all-star.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I mean, you might as well call it no-star weekend if you're going to keep doing that.
It seems like all these sports now are just, their all-star games are whack. Even with the Pro Bowl. I think the only thing that's fun is the NHL because the NHL stars actually compete in their skill competitions.
Mm. Yeah,
you get some of the best doing it in the NHL. Baseball, you have some of the biggest names doing. You have Pete Alonso. You have the big names in the events,
right?
Not the NBA.
But see, the NBA has become too, you hate to say it, too commercialized.
Oh gosh, yes.
And I'm once again, and the AT&T Slam Dunk Contest award, I get it. I mean, everybody understands that moves the profit and that moves the advertisers, but it could be something that's overkill. And I don't understand the concerts between these people coming to singing, during the concert. And I know I'm old. Look, I'm not as old as Methuselah, but I'm old enough. So I'm got get off my lawn, you kids type of old. So when they have these bands up there, I gotta change up. What's up, people? Now it's time for the Flying Kneecaps. Let's go, y'all. I'm like, I don't know who the Flying Kneecaps are. And I have to turn away.
Flying Kneecaps.
Whatever the name of the group is, I don't know who the hell they are. I have no idea.
Flying kneecaps, followed by Lil Plastic. Yeah.
There you go. Right.
Hey,
yeah.
not wrong.
It's yeah. Why do we need to have this carnival atmosphere for an All-Star Weekend? It's like, okay, well, I think we actually recognize the product sucks because really the people that you come to see really don't want to be here. But look at this. Look at what we have on display. It's not conducive to wanting to be there or even wanting to watch it. It's like what Cool said. If it's and it can for me it can even be the 3-point shooting contest, which I respect, and they actually have starters actually participate in that contest. I still want to turn away because the whole weekend is a turnoff.
Yeah,
Well,
I think, man, you should put the Rising Stars challenge on the Rising Stars game. I think you should put that on Sundays because they play.
Yeah, they get down.
Yeah, they do. They get down. Again, they do.
They be out there playing.
Yeah. But again, I think it's with certain players get too comfortable, and I don't know. For me, it's a little bit too overkill, and it's way over the top produced, and I just tune in when I can to see what I can with the 3-point contest and the dunk contest, something like that. And the All-Star game is it's interesting. I put it like that, and things change and stuff like that. And I understand that's just natural evolution, but for me, I'm just. Okay, but going back to McClung, it's a possibility that we can see hungry players, if they do it right, get into the dunk contest and then make it more watchable. Now, a few weeks ago, I was going to a month on First Take with Screaming Nate Smith. He got into it with Jay Williams, Jay Will. From the Keyshawn J. Will and Mac program.
That looked a little tense. That looked a little tense, yeah.
Yeah, it did. And so I don't know if it was real or not, because remember, this is off the heels of Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. So people copycat it from time to time. But this looked like the real deal a little bit to me. It didn't look like it was rehearsed. It looked real. And I'm glad. And once again, I feel about Screaming Nate Smith, but here's the deal. I liked it when he was working with Max Kellerman, because Max Kellerman would challenge him. And I think certain people get on a certain level, they don't want to be challenged. They think their word is bond. They think they're God sent, and you can't challenge them. You can't talk to a person like that. I respect Stephen A. Smith, don't get me wrong, but when he's challenged, then the whole screaming gets to a whole level, and then kind of like slight name calling and throwing the guest under the bus. I ain't cool with that. Look, you a man, take it. Just because it's different point of view does not make it wrong.
Right.
And so I swear I should have done it years ago when they had that contest to go against Stephen A. Smith. I was yay close to doing it. I was this close, and I should have went on and did it just to see how far I would get. Because that would be my argument with him. Dude, first of all, you're too loud. Let's slow it down a little bit. Bring it down 5,000. Second of all, my opinion is different. That's all. I'm not wrong. 2 + 2 = 137. That's wrong. My opinion is different.
You gotta count. That's a plug.
You should have went on that base.
Man, I was this close, Doc.
They need to give you an opportunity. I will tune in.
I do have something to ask because I saw your post the other day. Is it truly finally buried? Is it really over?
Oh Lord,
do we not have to worry about it again? Because I seen your post the other day.
Yes,
and I want to know if is it truly over?
Well, we have to pray to baby Jesus. That once again, 6 pounds 7 ounces. That it will come to an end, and he who should not be named will be sired back to hell. You know how people get Ash Wednesday? I'm gonna kick him in his ass Wednesday. So that has to come to an end. It just has to. So if he rears his ugly head, he will get the wrath. Because I'm like I said, I'm old, man. I'm tired. I can't take it no more. My bones creak. when I
I had
walk.
to ask. I had to ask because I follow you. I'm always checking out your program
Hey,
and everything.
Base,
Thank you, sir.
You
Oh
have to
my
tell the people
God.
if there's a case they didn't see it, so you have to. You have
Oh
to put
my gosh.
at least paraphrase your post.
Sure. So there's this person, unfortunately named Walter, and I've known Walter for a couple of years. We used to teach at Illinois Media School, and we taught broadcasting. And good fellow. He's my brother. I love him, but he has a bad habit of coming onto my show in the comment section just because his Negro gas is late. He's on CPT, Colored People's Time. He shows up late. My show starts at 4:00 p.m. Central. He shows up, say 4:27, and then asks me, the Bronze God, to start over. Have you lost what's left of your mind?
Yeah, and every time he sees the comment, literally you can see on Chris's face.
I like him. He's actually on what's that, Your Honor?
Yeah.
On Showtime. I like him. He plays the mayor, yeah.
Yes,
But no,
man.
because it's tiring.
Yeah, I feel you.
And once again, like I said, he's a broadcaster. That's what makes it stupid. You're a broadcaster just like me. Dumbass. And see, he doesn't have a show. He has been a disadvantage. He used to play jazz music locally here in Chicago. I pray,
oh Lord,
to baby Jesus that when he gets the show up and running, I'm going to call him up. I'm going to email, hey man, you're in your third hour. Hey man, start over.
Oh my gosh. Oh Lord,
it's stupid.
Victor, why, bro?
Not me, find me.
He says, please, I don't care who you're talking about. Please send that person back to Hades. I'm like, oh my God.
He keeps getting out. I don't know how he does it.
He says he's part of the Me Fi Me fraternity.
No, I'm Me Fi Me. And I said, I'm Me Fi Me, and I do allow people to be a part of Me Fi Me. Him, hell nope.
He's part of Moon Fi Moon.
Yeah, oh God. And I do agree with Andrew. I think Base would have owned Stephen A. I
you're very kind. Thank you.
Oh God. Ryan loves this. He says, I'm a kick a bit. It's Wednesday. I'm dead again.
Yeah. You have to.
He'll get on tonight and do it again too, Base.
Oh,
hey man, look, I can't wait.
Like clockwork.
I'm gonna be watching.
Yeah, I can't wait, Doc. It's some things have a beginning, middle, and end. This is the end. It just has to, because I can't go forward doing my show with some bonehead. Now, once again, that's a knock on me. I gotta get better friends.
Oh wow!
Really?
That's some real stuff he just said.
No, really, no. I mean, seriously. I mean, I call him my brother. We talk. We do some opinion, and we have chuckles and laughs from time to time. But this stuff has to stop. It just has to, because he don't know how much he's embarrassing himself. Dude, that's what I do. You want me known for that? Dude, are you insane?
Of all the stuff to be known for, that's what you want to be known for.
You want to be known for telling me to start over. Are you kidding me?
Well, that's what he's known for.
That's stupid.
Now,
that's
we're talking about him now.
Back to hell.
That's what he's known for now.
Well, that's the damnedest of shame.
Okay, so why do you think? And I'm glad I'm amongst other content creators too. Why is it that you have certain individuals who love to troll, like what you have to deal with, Chris? Why do you think that there's a person who just feels the need to want to get under the whatever the content creators is skin?
Because they themselves are not creative people. They themselves want to bite off of your content. They themselves are not talented. So what do? They copy, they steal. They're a part of the old-fashioned law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Well, I haven't heard that in a long time.
They're a part of that law firm.
Oh my.
So they rather troll and steal because they can't do anything original on their own. That's how they operate.
Oh yeah, I love
Poor
that.
bastards. That's how they operate.
I mean, like the saying go, haters gonna hate.
All the time. All the time.
Andrew, I agree with this. He says, basically, sir, you just dropped the mic. You just dropped the mic on that. I agree with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Basically, does that on a regular basis, though.
Yeah, of course he does. Of course he does. Sick. For a moment, I thought CBT stood for California Pacific Time. You know,
no, sir. No, that's not what that means.
No.
We're not giving you that. Sick.
You know, I'm about to say, doggone well, that's not what it means.
That doesn't mean that.
No, see, I'm gonna give you the sig.
Not the tilted brim. Not the tilted brim look cool.
And the eyebrow. You get the tilted brim sig and the rock eyebrow. That's what you get for that, sir.
Oh, help. But yeah, man, I was thinking about, again, going back to Steve. Once again, thank you all for the compliments. Going back to what Stephen A. Smith and Jay Moon was going through.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where I think that, like I said, I'm 55, but I don't know everything. I just know what I know. And so if I'm able to learn from people, that just makes me better. It makes me better, stronger, faster, as a $6 million man openly said back in the day in the 70s. Know who the $6 million man is? Go Google it. Thank God for Google. But that was the opening to a 70s show of a man who was bionic. He was an astronaut, Steve Austin, not Stone Cold Steve Austin before him in the 70s. And they had to rebuild him, had to make him better what he was. Better, stronger, faster. So my point is, that's the mentality I have at this age and going, to learn from other people, to learn in general. It makes me better, it makes me stronger, it makes me faster. But that's me. Everybody else gets to a point, well, I know what I know. I know everything. No, you don't, you bonehead. You don't. You don't.
No.
Like the same with the rap. I'm saying with the rap bastard going back to Walter. I love him, but the hell with him. Jesus. You love somebody you love to beat him up. That's what I want to do. If I could put him in a figure 4 leg lock, man, it's lights out.
Oh my gosh.
Not the figure 4.
Figure 4 leg lock.
I like it.
Yeah, the figure 4.
I support it.
A la Ric Flair style.
Oh, now when you go, woo!
Woo! You got to walk down that aisle. Looking as only as I can look. Whoa!
Limousine riding. Jet flying. Kiss stealing. Willing and dealing. Son of a gun.
He was one of my favorites for years. Man. I remember one time I saw him on WCW, and the late great Mean Jim Okerlund was interviewing Ric Flair. You're the champion right now. We gotta say, Mean Gene. Woo! I got the championship. I got the tag team championship. I got woman, and that was her name, woman. And I got woman. Woo! That's my favorite.
Oh, but
yeah, I introduced her. Mean Gene, this is woman. Does she have a name? No, she don't have no name. It's just woman.
I forgot about that part. I totally forgot about that part.
Ric Flair was wild, bro.
Yeah.
Wild.
True champion, real deal.
Yeah. He's my favorite wrestler of all time too.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about your beloved Bears for a quick moment. So I think it was earlier this week that your team purchased some property in Arlington Heights. What do you think about that?
It's a great move. Soldier Field is the smallest arena in the NFL.
Correct.
To date.
It is. And by far it is the smallest, yes.
Exactly. And time has passed it by. So they could have had other lands, like, for example, here in Chicago, on the lakefront going south, there's all this land that they could build a stadium there, but they chose not to. So, other Arlington Heights came along, get an opportunity to build a stadium like everybody else, like SoFi and everybody else, Las Vegas, go on, in Dallas, and there's you have to compete. You have to, do that. That's just natural business. And for our mayor here, the Foot, to say everything's gonna be all right, we're gonna save it. You can't even catch a cold. Let's try to save the Bears here. Okay. But this is not going to happen. So I think it's a great move for the organization. It's about maybe like an hour, 2 hour drive, but the fan faithful will be there. They will be there in droves, and to have a brand new, spanking new big stadium where you have all types of stores and amenities and everything else, you just need it. I'm sorry to see him go from Chicago, but I completely understand. Go and do what you got to do. I ain't mad at you.
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned Lori Lightfoot. What?
Not me though. Go ahead.
Now, what?
see, even Base knows.
Now, what in the world was she smoking when she proposed to Cook County to place a plate on top of Soldier Field?
Look, on Soldier Field, we already had the Mothership Connection land years ago. If you drive by and you see it, they tried to extend it by giving them more, more boxes and stuff like that. It looks like the Mothership Connection landed in Soldier Field and then stayed there. So that was not an improvement. It became to me like an eyesore. So I don't know. I believe that Chicago obviously had all these opportunities to keep it here and just literally drop the pigskin, drop the ball, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So here comes Arlington Heights, scoop it up. We got the money, got the land, take it.
So if the Bears were to have stayed in, well, the Bears are going to stay in Chicago since they still are there, and they wouldn't play in Soldier Field, where in the city limits of Chicago could you see the Bears playing, or has other venue opportunities presented itself?
Me personally, I'm not heard of any other opportunity because, of course, the scale and the size and of a football field.
Right.
So I have not heard of any type of alternative place to play. All I've heard is that they stayed there in Soldier Field all these years, and that's where they're playing, obviously, currently, until the big move to Arlington Heights. Now, other than that, I've not heard any type of in-between place to play. Now, I did hear if and when the Bears move to Arlington Heights, maybe the Jaguars of Jacksonville may move to Chicago. That's one rumor I heard. I don't know if it's true or not, only because of the fact that it's the third largest market, and you get a chance to market a team where, hey, Chicago doesn't have Chicago Bears anymore. Chicago Jaguars, it's possible. That's if you want to make that move. But again, you're in a very small arena as compared to other arenas in the NFL.
But would they really change the name? It's going to still be Chicago, isn't it?
They could change the names. I'm just saying that if they were to consider it, and this is somebody I know that works in the NFL, so they would, if they consider it, then they got to make all the changes in the world, but still, they would need a new stadium too.
Two teams in Chicago, that would be interesting.
That would be.
Oh, yeah.
And it has happened before, obviously, but
Yes, it
yeah.
has.
But I couldn't picture the Jaguars moving to Chicago, though.
Same here.
All right. All right, before we do let you go, now, are you familiar with the Ghetto Boys?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know if you know that Willie D and Scarface has a podcast called Ghetto Boys. I think it's Reloaded.
And, I caught one of the viral videos recently. Yes.
Oh yeah, and Wise, we'll be talking about this later today on Mentality.
Okay.
The way Willie D addressed Scarface, do you think that he was right in addressing what he did to Scarface? And for those who don't know, Scarface represented the Ghetto Boys and performed at the Grammys, and he did the song Mind Playing Tricks on Me, which, yes, Scarface wrote 3/4 of the song, but Willie D was on it too, and he, of course, had a verse on his own in that song too. Willie took umbrage, and in this podcast episode, he addressed Scarface on it. Do you think Willie was right in addressing it, or do you think Scarface was right in saying, "Look, the Grammys asked me that that's the song they wanted me to perform, and I performed it"?
He was right in addressing it. He was correct in his assessment because you can't keep that bottled up all these years, and especially when you're sitting across from the person that executed the whole thing with the Grammys. Get it out the way. I'm glad it got. Hopefully, they can move forward from it.
I do too.
I'm glad he brought it up because again, it would sting me. I think it would sting the average person. I'm watching the Grammys, or I was not invited, and I'm part of a group, and my boy's on there, and I'm not a part of it. So I just think basic human instinct would say, "Look, bro, I didn't like what happened. This is what happened." I'm glad they aired it out. Hopefully, they can move forward from it. I did see that part of the video, the viral part, And I agree with Willie D. Get out and let them know how you feel.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Cool.
Man, I feel like you should have said, "Look, I'll do the song, but I need the other people that are on the song here with me, right? So we can do the song right." And that means I get a little bit smaller cut because I got to make sure they're good, cool. But if I'm gonna do a song that features other people, I really need to have them here. Now, if you're doing like a Super Bowl or you're doing something where you're just doing like your different verses from 3 or 4 songs, cool. But if you're actually doing the song, you should have the people there. And I think Willie D is right for that. And I think Scarface should have went to him a long time ago and say, "Look, man, boom, boom, I was wrong, my bad." Like that should have already have happened, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. Wise, or do you want to save it?
Well, I guess I can save it for mentality.
Okay, cool.
No, but he could have. I'm glad he did address it. Them being brothers, so we'll touch on it more. But I'm glad he did address it.
Yeah, and I will definitely address it along with Wise on mentality when you see it on Monday.
Okay, well, let me say this real quick about
go
that.
ahead.
Some people, that happens in every group. There's always people in the group who want to solo out. That happens. That happens in any group that you look at. So maybe in Scarface's mind, there's a chance for me to solo out in the public, so they can see me, not the group.
He had a success. He's had a successful.
Oh, he has, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, he's had one for decades. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. But that's what it gets sometimes. When people get to a point when any group, hey, look, man, instead of dividing it by 5, you just give me 1, and that 1 is me. So if I get paid by 1, I'm getting the bag. Let me take care of business and go solo out.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it did. Yeah.
You
You could say, "Look, I'm gonna bring you on. I'm gonna throw you a little cash. I'm gonna bring you on. You do your parts of the song. You get to his verse, ladies and gentlemen, Willie D. Boom. Then he come out and do his part. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I love Willie D. I mean, look, one of my favorite songs of all time, I won't mention it, is Bald Head Hose. I love that song.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
And the video was hilarious too.
Well, let's see. That's your favorite song, and Brian's favorite song from Willie D is "Let a Hoe Be a Hoe." So yeah, and believe me, I know all about Willie D. I grew up in Houston, and he was a huge presence there. Still is to this day. Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
There go one. There go one there.
Yeah.
Let me say this in parting, and I love you all. Thank you for having me on here.
Oh, no problem.
It's
man.
amazing when you watch movies and you watch them again and you pick them on stuff you didn't see before.
Yeah.
A line or a scene, something like that. So one of my favorite pickups that I saw for years and years ago, Lean on Me, with Morgan Freeman. So he's being arrested, right, for chaining the doors on the in the school.
Right.
So he's being arrested, and the lady, played by Lynn Thinkpin, had the tape on him. And we're gonna vote your black B out. And Sands came out, "Hey B, flow on this." And Clark said, "Sands, get back to your class." He didn't say anything about her being the B.
No,
he just said, "Get back to your class." He's like, "Look, I agree with you about her being the B. Just get back to your class."
Yeah, that's the kind of things you miss, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. See, this is what always happens every time we talk anything with this gentleman. It just goes wherever it goes. All right. So tell the people where they can find you, sir.
Thank you very much. You can find me on Facebook. You type in Facebook and then go to Chris Base, CHRISB, as in broadcasting, ASE. Again, and this is not my fault. A gazillion Chris Bases out there, male, female, fluid, whoever they are, they're out there. But I am the original. You'll see me with some sunglasses on, a nice fedora hat. You click that. We can be friends. You see my social media programs. You can be a part of it by just being a part of the Friday, especially because we get down, we free our mind. When you free your mind, your yes always follows. Always tell 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies that Chris Base will always be in the air.
Yes, you can. And you can always catch him on his Facebook page where he does Chris Base interviews Wednesdays at 4 Central, 5 Eastern. The same time for 4 Central, 5 Eastern today with Baseline and countless of other things. This is uh, one of the most prolific and one of the best uh, people on the mic that you could ever find. And
thank you.
I learned so much from this guy every time I watch him, and even now, every time he's just a part of this show. Chris Bass, he always joins us every Friday. He always gives us a laugh, and he always gives us something to think about all at the same time. And I love you, brother. Just keep doing what you're doing, and it is a pleasure to actually share space with you anytime.
Oh man, I love you too more, and the damn thing you do about it. And I don't know why to take off. Same with him, and the same with Snowman and Rainman. But tell real quick, I'm appearing on Drew Willingham's program today.
Yes.
So I'll be the guest in this contest with him. I believe it starts. I'll be 2:15 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
And I was told it's called episode 81, so I'll be on with him today.
All right. So yeah. So okay, they'll catch you on In and Out, In or Out with Drew Willingham. Okay, I look forward to that. Again, Chris Bass, love you, brother. I hope everything's good with you. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you later on today.
All right,
Much
love you,
love,
boy.
Mr.
Take
Bass.
care.
I'll definitely be checking you out too, man.
Don't soil this program by putting crap on it. Joe Buck, I cannot take him. I just no dice. I'm glad Carlos Boozer finally took the kiwi off his face. It should be on your shoes, not your face. It's kiwi shoe polish, for God's sake. LeBron should come clean about his age. I wish to baby Jesus that I had alcohol in this container, because I need some after watching Screaming A. Smith.
Baby Jesus, really?
6 pounds 7 ounces. Go tell 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies that Chris Bass will be in the air.
All right. In the chat, you can catch Chris Bass on In or Out Sports Debate with Drew Willingham. He said that will be 2:15 Eastern, 1:15 Central. And I look forward to seeing what Drew has in store for him. All right. Now, I guess I could talk with you for a couple of minutes before we do cut this off and go our merry way. Now, you're a big football fan. I understand that. Forget just Eagles. You're a big football fan in general.
Basketball too.
And that's where I was going to go. You're a huge basketball fan. What I also know about you is that you are high on the WNBA as well as the NBA. What are you looking forward to seeing? Because I know they won't be on the court until May, but what are you looking forward to seeing when they do take to the court this spring?
So there's been a lot of teams that have dramatically improved, who've kind of formed super teams, so to speak. It's something that was bound to happen because there hasn't been expansion in the WNBA. So when you have an influx of new, really good talent, you have a lot of veterans who are still able to play. There comes a point, there's only so many roster spots where you're going to start having the team ups. If you look at the Phoenix Mercury, they're getting Griner back, Diana Taurasi. A lot of people consider the GOAT of the WNBA. Coming there as well. If you look at the Aces, a lot of that team is there, and they're adding a Candace Parker, right? You look at a team like, the Atlanta Dream, up and coming team, my team. A lot of good pieces added. Maybe not like a superstar, but a lot of great pieces added. So I think you're going to see a lot of teams that are going to be very competitive, and I think you're going to see so much talent there, and so much talent that doesn't have a place, that argument for expansion is going to really pick up, because I really feel like the league could add 2 more teams, and if they're in the right cities, within the next couple of years, and still have really great basketball. I'm just excited to see them play, man. I want to see the ladies get out there, because there's a big difference. We talk about men's basketball. We talk about how it's a 120, 130 a game.
Right.
A bad game when you're shooting poor is like 110, 95. You got to watch these ladies play. There's defense being played. There's fundamental basketball. There's actual coaching. Somebody has a 20-point game that matters, right? I mean, you have sometimes someone explode, but a lot of times you get one of the ladies give you about 20, 25 a game. That's a dominant game in a women's game because the defense is there, the team defense. The IQ is shown, and I'm not saying that the NBA doesn't have the IQ, but they're so intent on scoring that they don't care about the defensive side of the ball anymore.
Right.
I can say the energy to dunk on you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just everything that's going to come with the game, how it's going to be presented this year, the differences, seeing the ladies on TV a lot because there's going to be a lot more, from what I've read, them actually being seen on TV. Just so many great things around the WNBA game, and I'm very excited for the presentation of it this season as well.
Oh, see, you led me to the other question I was going to ask you. You hear a lot of talk about, especially with those who really are not knowledgeable about the WNBA. They'd say, "Well, the sport just isn't as appealing as the NBA," and you basically see the seats have filled in most of these arenas, and then the league is crying broke. I mean, you hear all of these tropes, and I know most, if not all of them, are false. But you mentioned expansion, and I was wanting to ask along those lines, how close do you think the WNBA is to expand?
They need to be close, right? They definitely do because, like I said, man, the talent, like there's a lot of great young women coming out of college that are starters from day one. Perfect example, Brian Howard last year. There's a lot of great women who are coming out and they're at least role players. Even the same Atlanta Dream, Nas Little, she's a great role player. She may not be a starter, but she's great at what she does to help the team as well. And she will be a starter at some point soon. So you have the younger players coming in. You have the veterans that are still in their prime, are still able to play.
Right.
So you only have so many roster spots, right? So you're having to turn away people who should be in the league. So I think a great way to do is, add a team to each conference. Right.
And that is a good sign. You're right.
It really needs to be in the next 2 to 3 years. I know there's a lot of detractors, like you said, about the WNBA game. Yeah, there's times where the stadiums are not full, but I'm gonna tell you a secret. If you go to NBA games, it's not the better teams. Yeah, right. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. You go to Hornets game, it's not full.
100.
A lot of times it's not close to full.
Right.
You have people who buy the tickets and try to sell them. If they can't sell them, they just say screw it. Team sucks.
Yeah.
So I mean, you get that everywhere. I do think that the important thing for the WNBA is to ensure that you're understanding your fan base. You're understanding how many teams that you do actually have, the fans that you have coming, and when you're choosing stadiums, places to play, that you're choosing places that fit that, right? You don't want to go out and try to be in an NBA arena because it's always going to look like it's not full. But there are other arenas where you can go and play in that are a little bit smaller, that kind of fit more along lines of who's watching the WNBA game. Again, I know a lot about the Dream. It's the team I cheer for. Their stadium, for instance, in College Park, Georgia, perfect. It's a smaller venue, but it still has nice seating. It's well put together, but it fits the WNBA at this stage. They're not at that point yet where they've exploded like the NBA, but they are better. And then last year, for the first time, they were profitable, right? And that's a big accomplishment, but that still says, oh man, there's some work to do, because just being profitable means after you pay everything, there's a carryover. That doesn't mean you're making millions in a league. So, more investors, right? More eyes. What I'd like to see is commentators. I'd like to see dynamic personalities come in and call WNBA games, right? And it doesn't have to be just guys. I want to see dynamic females coming in and calling. But the problem we have is the best females in the sport are still playing a lot of times, right? You look at Chiney Lumke, you look at Candace Parker, some of the different ones, they're still active players.
Still
so
active.
They can't call the games if they're still playing in them.
Yeah.
But we need the dynamic ladies who can do their thing. And I see Hawk TV chiming in here with a bunch of great defunct teams. You talk about Shot, Houston Comets, Charlotte Sting, the Rockers, the Monarchs, the Stars. These are all teams that they're not. So when I say expansion, I mean bringing back 2 of those teams, right?
Mhm.
I don't mean going and creating a whole new team. I say you start to bring back the teams who we lost.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe not the same city because maybe the city doesn't work anymore, right? But bring it back
I
some
mean,
of those mascots and those things. Yeah.
For example, I can't remember which was which. Didn't the Shock start in Tulsa? Or
Yes,
did they move it? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to your point right there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yes, Hall TV, I totally remember the comments. Yes, that will always be my favorite WNBA team. It was electric. And I have not seen that type of atmosphere in a WNBA game since then. The closest it's been, I don't really want to say the Mercury. Although
It would be the Mercury in the Sky. That would be the closest.
yeah, I was about to say, yeah, I would say the Sky. It's the closest I've seen is the Sky. Not as much the Mercury, but that's the closest I felt in that energy of, yeah, we rock for this team because
And
we love what we're seeing on the court.
In Vegas last year too,
Yeah.
because Vegas when they got Hammond, that just changed.
Oh
the game.
gosh, yes, I totally forgot. I totally forgot
yeah,
about the Las Vegas
changed.
Aces, and the oh good, yeah. Let's talk about that. The infusion of energy that Becky Hammond seemed to put not just on the Aces, but the whole entire community when it came to them. If you can't talk further about how beautiful of a presence Becky Hammond was to be the head coach of that team for the entire league.
So listen, man, when you have a all-time great player go to the NBA, learn at the foot of Greg Popovich, and then bring that knowledge, that understanding, that noticeability, that notoriety back over to a league that needs it.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. And then you look at the dream to Tanisha Wright, Coach Wright.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's another one, came in, has the experience as a player as well, and was able to bring a different vibe. So you're starting to add quality coaches. And I'm not saying the other people that coached weren't quality, but quality and names that people know.
Right.
What I'd love to see is at some point Don Staley leaves South Carolina and come to the WNBA. And that would be sick.
Oh,
understand what I'm saying?
That's the name.
You get some of these,
be a WNBA coach. Yes.
some of these ladies that were great WNBA players themselves that are in coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Getting them to this league would be amazing because it would be full circle moments. And I wanted to address Drew Willingham, who said they failed once, they'll fail twice. So here's the difference, I think now, Drew. I think now we're at a point where there are people like myself. Also, there are several other people who really love the women's game, right? I think there was a point that the women's game was not as good because you didn't have the same level of player, right? You had these teams, and you had great players on all the teams, but then the cast around them wasn't always well.
Right.
But I think now we're getting to the point where you're starting to see a lot of them be better. You know, just the teams in general. You're just looking at players and you're saying, how is this person not even in the WNBA? Tia Cooper, great player, right? Not even in the WNBA as of now because there's so much talent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think it's a perfect time to capitalize on it. The popularity is rising. You know, I don't ever think it'll be NBA popularity, and that's fine.
I don't think it would be either.
But
doesn't need to be.
You can improve. You can improve. You can continue to improve. You can continue to be better at what they're doing. And those ladies, to me, are great faces of the game. You're not seeing a lot of problems. You know, not a lot of drama being brought to the teams. There's some in different places, like the Phoenix had some sneaky things happening there between Diggins Smith and Taurasi. But you know, obviously gonna have some personality issues, but not the type of drama that you get consistently in other leagues. So just happy to see him have the opportunity, man. And you know, I want it to continue, and I appreciate being on platforms like this with you guys, where you actually can talk some WNBA and have guys and gals in the chat that actually know something about the product. You know, that's what we need. You know, just awareness, people talking about it, and people saying, "Well, let me go see it. This dude's talking about it's good. Let me go see it." I'm telling you. You go watch the games, even between some of the teams that are not that good. It's quality, man. I mean, like I said, it's not NBA level, but it's good quality basketball, and it's improving because the teams are improving, the players are improving.
You said a wonderful point about, well, the WNBA is not going to reach the popularity of the NBA. It doesn't have to. For example, look at the college game. I mean, of course, the men's side, yeah, of course, it gets all the pub, literally. But women's college basketball, oh my gosh, it's its own separate lane, and it has its own popularity, its own characters, its own cast of characters, and it has the unique fan base to where it doesn't necessarily need to have those who love the men's game to go over to love the women's game.
Right.
But it
It's cool if you
appeals
do.
to a broad section of those who love the women's game.
Mhm.
And it does well. And I mean, monetarily, it does well.
Yeah.
And I think the
Definitely does.
WNBA can get to that point too. Yeah.
Yep. And then to answer Drew's, well, I'll answer Hawk TV and Drew's real quick. So Hawk TV, no, I'm not saying she's a top 20 player, but I'm saying she's a good enough player where she should be on a WNBA roster, right? But the fact that she's not, and I'm not saying, oh, they're wrong for not having her, but I'm saying talent-wise, she's good enough to be on a WNBA roster. And she's not, because there's so many other players that you're like, you know what, you good, but we're going to go in this direction, right? You have other teams, you have another team or two. She's probably somebody that's a fringe player that you can get back in the league. As far as Brittany Griner goes, she has to fly private, right? With everything that happened with her, you don't want a lot of people feel like, oh, she shouldn't have been brought back, and she could be attacked. A lot of verbal abuse and different things of that nature, and you don't want someone to have to go through that after she's already went through what she's went through. You can agree that she should have been brought back, to the trade should have been made for her for the terrorists, or you cannot agree, but it was made. And at this point, she has to be protected, because you don't know, there's a lot of crazy people in the United States. So she does have to be protected, and she has to fly. She'd have to fly privately. But the thing is, so this sparks the argument that, for those of you who've been paying attention to the WNBA and know kind of a little bit about it, why can't the players have chartered flights? Why do they have to have regular flights like regular people? Right? It's not collectively bargained, but that's something they could both go to the table and try to address. Those players need to be in a situation where they can fly privately, all of them. And it doesn't have to be on, the greatest private jet, but there should be owners of these teams should be able to help in the league as well, to get private flights for these ladies, or at least, even if it's a commercial flight just for them, right? They should not be flying with other people. They should not be flying in regular airports, going through the same thing that a normal person goes through. So you can disagree, Hawk TV, that she doesn't need private flights. She didn't request it. This was something that was put in place because they understand how polarizing of a figure she is.
Yeah, the
And
severity
fact
of what's
that,
happening. Yeah.
there's a lot of people who hate her as a person, because of her sexual preference. She's a female that has a big name, and she got traded back, and the war veteran didn't, and some other people didn't. And I get it. I understand that you want to say, all right, how could we do this? Blah, blah, blah. That's the decision that was made. You don't have to agree with it or disagree with it. You can feel however you want about it, but it's done. But again, like I said a few minutes ago, there's a lot of crazy, mentally deranged people in this country. And giving them access to somebody like her, you can't do that. She has to have this protection. And I don't think it's something that she necessarily wants, but it has to happen. She has to, where she lives at, nobody knows now. A lot of people don't know how to get to where she lives at anymore, right? She has to be just protected because of what's happened. And Hawk TV, it's definitely all about the money. It's definitely all about the money, but it's the protection of the players too. They've had COVID breakouts, all kinds of things. They've missed games or had to play games as soon as they got to stadiums because they were stuck on flights and stuff like that. That's what needs to happen.
But yeah,
and Drew, one quick other point: the revenue doesn't dictate their travel. The collectively bargained agreement dictates their travel.
See, now see, you touched on a question that I'd want you to answer personally with me. And it is this: WNBA and their union, how effective are they in getting what they need to get for their players, so that it isn't a situation like we see with football, where we can actually look at their labor union and see you don't fully represent your players like you should when you go to the table and you bargain with the owners. Is it a strong union? Is it a weak one? Is it one that basically is what would be the language I could use? I guess you could say an entity in progress.
It's definitely an entity in progress because it's hard to go to the table and say we want this, 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 and this, and the funds don't show it at that time. Because you think about these agreements are done for multiple years. You don't
Right.
do a collectively bargained agreement for 2 years, right? So they signed one, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago,
Mhm.
and it's like a 8 to 10 year agreement, right? Because you want to be comfortable on both sides. But in the last 2-3 years, we've seen a lot of influx of cash, a lot of people buying into the WNBA, becoming minority owners in the
That
WNBA
helps.
for small pieces of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's changing the money that's there. So now there are teams that are like, we would fly our ladies private, but collectively bargained, we can't. Mark Davis with Vegas, right? Several other owners as well. Now there's some that may be like, I'm glad that we can't because we don't really have the same thing. But you could take all that money and put it in one pot and say, if we do this, there are some organizations that are, the expectation is going to be you're going to need to put a little bit more into the pot because of where you're at and the people that you have and the money that you have coming in. And I know Mark Davis, for one, has come out and said, I would help fund that, but you can't do anything until it's collectively bargained or an addendum is made to the collective bargaining agreement allowing for it. So that's the place where you're at. And it's hard to go to the WNBA and say, hey, we're the players union. We want you to make an addendum in the middle of the collectively bargained agreement because now the situation has changed, right? Because the WNBA say, well, okay, so we stop making as much money 2 years down the road. Are we coming back to the table again for that? So you got to, it's a lot that you have to deal with on the behind the scenes side with that. But I think that the players union, and obviously these are things that once the next CBA comes up are going to be addressed for sure. It's just a matter of if it's something that they can adjust in the middle of a CBA. And this happens in basketball, this happens in football, this happens in baseball. Any league, you have that collectively bargained agreement, and you're expected to abide by that for the duration of that agreement.
Yeah. Or otherwise, you'd have to resort to if your players a strike, and if you don't owner that you don't like it, a lockout. So yeah, you're correct there. And thank you, Andrew. I thought this was necessary because the moment I learned about Cool and the fact that this was one of his interests, I said I'm going to actually have this be spotlighted one of these days. I took today to do that. Victor says it seems that Britney's stance on the national anthem protest also rubbed people the wrong way. Of course it does.
Oh yeah,
but she does need some protection for her safety. Yeah, no question. Hard TV says it's like when portions of wages get funded for EBT and SNAP benefits.
Okay. Hey, it's different, but I mean, yeah, okay.
I get it. I get it. Drew says, yeah, she probably talking about Britney, saw Crazier in lockdown. Well, she probably did. I mean, that was a Russian prison, so you don't know what went down. Right. Hard TV goes on to say the NBA is a major player when it comes to funding the W. Yes, and not only funding it, but promoting it
and supporting it. Yep.
Yeah, it's important. Obviously, to the most elite of the elite NBA players, they seem to want to promote the game, which that is a healthy thing. Andrew says, yeah, look, I definitely agree. Brittany needs some sort of protection and the flights need to improve. Yeah. I can't argue with that. Hard TV also says Bill Burr summed the lack of monetary success best in his stand-up. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you look over time, right, because we're talking about a league that's been around for over 25 years now.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you look over time, I completely agree. But you have to look at the way it's trending now. So it's trending to being a league that can more support itself, right? And funding from the NBA is great, right? I love it. I applaud the NBA because it's not something that they have to do, but they want this league to survive. So I applaud that. They're not making the same type of money that you're making in the NBA. They can make more money overseas, at this present time. But that's why you grow the game. Because if you grow it, if you get the people who are fans buying a jersey, if you're having conversations about it, you're doing shows about it, people are going to the games, posting lives, we getting stars going to these games as well as the NBA games, then people start to look at it, right? Because let's be honest, we can sit here all day and talk back and forth. The truth of the fact of the matter is a lot of people are sheep. Jay-Z goes to WNBA games, them jokers gonna be full to the ceiling.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. And they would be like ants. They would just they see the food they want and they'll gravitate toward the spot. Oh yeah. No question about that. All right, man. I could talk endlessly about you with anything sports wise. So it doesn't matter what it is. So tell the people where they can find you, my man.
So on social media, cool_McCain on Instagram, on Twitter at Cool McCain, Facebook Cool McCain. I also have Eagles Elite podcast, youtube.com/at Eagles Elite podcast. Play Call Sports Talk Show. Play Call Sports Talk Show is actually tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Definitely be diving into the All-Star game, thoughts on the All-Star game, the different pieces, as well as NFL news and notes. Talk a little college basketball, a little NBA basketball as well. Also can find me, and then that's going to be at playcallsportstalk.com/live. Just trying to think of all the other projects. Can't remember all of them at the time. I know we have a hiatus for some of the NFL ones now, but I have some other things that are going to be popping up. Oh, and also on the Sports Empire Network at 9 p.m. tonight. Top of the Key podcast. You can find us. Just go to YouTube, type in Sports Empire Network. You'll see nice little black and gold logo pop up. That's the channel. Lots of great sports content on there as well. But a lot of places, man. Just trying to do some things, keep this sports thing moving, get my thoughts out, and have a good time.
Well, you've heard it right here. This man knows a lot about a lot when it comes to sports, and you got a chance and a glimpse into what you'll hear more of, because we'll talk more WNBA for sure. This is Cool McCain. I am proud to call him my brother. I love you, man. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad you took some time, man.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. All right. And that will wrap things up for Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson for today and the week. Of course, we thank all of you, the BS3 Network via Roku TV. We thank all of you who are listening. We thank all of you who are downloading this. And we thank, of course, as well, the feedback zone powered by Fanatics. We thank you all for commenting. Your comments were wonderful today. Keep it up. And yes, in the chat, the links to find where Cool is, you can find them. Both his YouTube channels are in the chat as we speak. Well, that's all the time we have for Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am Cole, and on behalf of all of us, for Brian, for Wise, and for others, and of course for Cool as well, I'm here to say the following. Take care. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, then it's just simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. That's what we're doing here. You just heard it here from my man Cool. We hope you're doing the same as well. We hope you're doing the same if you're watching and if you're listening. Until Monday, have a wonderful weekend. So long, everybody.